up with the ice rays. If ICE shows up, do not resist, claim your rights. Know your rights, shh, stay silent. Request a lawyer. Todos unidos, jamás seremos vencidos. Stay safe.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot, nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so, when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
You don't fucking kill them. All people's identity. Hey, look! Whoa!
Oh, hell no! This is... Oh my God!
Fucking media!
Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back.
That was the team! Fucking media! Fuck you guys! Fuck you!
Keep her up there.
Break him more, bitch!
Which one?
I'll break him more, bitch! I'll break him more! Fuck you! No!
Leave it. Leave it. He didn't do nothing. Just leave it.
The LA County Police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know. What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
Video after video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up, aggression by these protesters that later video shows people were not aggressive.
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting.
Unrest is isolated. LA is home to millions of people, most of whom are having a normal day here on Sunday.
You know, you've heard reports that there are riots on the streets of Los Angeles. That is not what's happening across the city of Los Angeles.
Governor Newsom's right. There wasn't anything like a riot happening on Friday, Saturday.
We just witnessed a protester thanking a National Guardsman for his service here in California.
LAPD, by most estimates, had this under control last night.
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed now. Things in LA are calm. There was a protest that got a little unruly late at night.
There's been no violence where anybody that was protesting hit anybody, shot anybody, threatened anybody. Nothing has happened.
What is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn.
Most of those demonstrators were very peaceful. They were chanting, they were shouting. People were driving by honking their horns.
I have a kid and I know police
don't like it. But you can if you could just move out the way. You're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do? No, it's not.
How do you as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this video finds you. Welcome to Tix. I see we got little visitors today. That's cool. So that last one always cracks me up, where they said you don't want a black woman to go to work, and the little drug addict was like, "Oh no, not work," and the black woman looked in like, "Excuse me, what?" Like, wow. So you say, so Jay Bailey said, you say a police officer did shoot someone in the back while she was reporting live to Australia. I thought that was a chick that got cracked in the leg with the rubber bullet. But there's also a video where a dude got cracked right in the middle of his forehead with a rubber bullet. He caught it on camera, and they showed the body cam of the officer that did it. It was like, bop, and it curved like a baseball and knocked him right out. That was hilarious. But baby, if it's not the reporter that got hit in the leg, then show me. See, that's just they're trying to get to work something they say we do not want to do. Right. Say when you try to act like a dictator, this is what happens. Well, that's why Trump had to send in National Guard, because you had Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom trying to dictate how California should be run. California is a U.S. territory. They do not get to tell the government how it should be run, especially when it's run by illegals. So y'all remember when all this mess started a couple months ago? I said the best thing that Trump should do for the illegals that have been here, you know, you've been working here for some years, at least 6 months to 6 months plus. You got a job, all right? You got a job. You're doing all right. You're not causing any problems or whatnot. You're working your 9 to 5. Everything is fine, especially in critical areas. What you do is, instead of getting rid of these people, instead of doing the deportations with them, of course, you know, it's pretty much kind of too late, but instead of doing the deportations with them, you hand them the booklet. You give them the booklet. Here, study up on this. In 6 months, come down to the courthouse, take the citizenship test. All right, you pass the test. You just go. We're going to the auditorium. Raise your right hand. I solemnly swear, yada, yada, yada. Boom. Now go back to work. That way you don't even, then you go ahead, you get these people registered with a new social security number and everything. So that way they're documented. They have 5 years of probationary period, especially in critical areas. All right. Especially in critical areas like agriculture. All right. Because you need these people. I mean, especially out like Wyoming, Nebraska, stuff like that. You need those people out there. I know they're not getting paid a fair wage, but you're going to have to start paying these people a fair wage. But that way you don't slow down. You don't slow down the food or the money. You keep everything going. Let's see. You say, didn't Trump say in order to send troops, you need to ask the governor if they want the help? Yeah, well, you must be new, because what you're not understanding, and we're going to deal with that today, is that the Democrats are trying to they're trying to force a civil war. They're trying to force a civil war. They could care less about illegals. Illegals are just the backdrop of all of this. They're the backdrop of all of this. They're going to use them as the catalyst. They're going to use them as their cannon fodder, because they lost the election. You couldn't bankrupt the man. You couldn't jail him. and you tried to delete them and you failed. So, and now that they lost the election, they just want to burn it all down. Say, what do you think about Trump making deals with the cartel to let their families live here? Well, you have to show me the link to that. Say Israel versus Iran, because that's a new one. But I do know that these governors and mayors, they appear to be cartel controlled, especially in these sanctuary cities. But we're going to get to that. But at any rate, so this is what happened today. This is what happened today in the White House.
Peter?
Thank you, President Trump. I have two. First, on immigration. What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
And my other question about
No, send it to me. Don't ask me to Google it. You Google it and post the link, and then I'll take a look. If you got it, show it to me. We over here, we like to show our work. So show it to me. Google it, put it in the chat, and we'll take a look at it. Right now, let me get this underway. So as you can see, they're going to make a special provision for illegals that work in farming and also in the hospitality industry, because you have to understand that those people are your backbone. All right, not the criminals that like to grape and murder little girls for sport and sell fentanyl and all types of crazy stuff. No, not those. The ones that ICE are directly targeting. No, yeah, like we're not worried about those people. You guys are out in Wyoming, Nebraska, etc. We're after the criminal ones, which is what started all of this crap in California in the first place. They went and captured some criminal illegals. And then all of a sudden there was chaos, to which the National Guard had to come in and do what they had to do. And now you've got the military in there, and you do not want to mess around with the military, but play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So he looks like he's going to give those people a pass, but do understand at the same time, they do have read access. They have more than read access to the Social Security numbers, which means that once you start deleting these people off of the Social Security rolls and the Medicare and the welfare rolls, the SNAP rolls, once you start deleting these people off of that, of course, they're going to hopefully they'll self-deport. But these people that he's talking about, like we need to keep, the farm hands and the service workers, he's going to have these guys do something real quick before the end of the month. Before they start killing those Social Security numbers, he needs to have these people come in, do what they need to do, so that way they get special amnesty protection until they're able to get everything sorted out, and then that way they won't be part of the deportation movement. That way they can stay. So finally, he's starting to come around and have some type of common sense to this whole situation. So, he's benevolent, not malevolent. You say, dude, even Fox News has the story on it. Just show it to me. Post the link. I'm busy. Can't you see we working here? I'm working here, man. I'm working. All right, let's get to the next story.
Yeah, second.
that conflict with Iran can be avoided?
Well, I'd love to avoid the conflict. Iran's going to have to negotiate a little bit tougher, meaning they're going to have to give us some things that they're not willing to give us right now. I'm the last person. I've kept us out of wars. We defeated ISIS completely, 100%. And I haven't had it's peace through strength. I believe in peace through strength. We're the greatest military in the world. I rebuilt the military, as you remember, for 4 years. I rebuilt the military. And then we gave a chunk of it away, but it was still peanuts. It was a lot, but it was peanuts compared to what we rebuilt. Gave it to Afghanistan, one of the most embarrassing moments in the history of our country, with the whole withdrawal, the way they withdrew was very embarrassing. But we rebuilt the military. We have
every chance
the greatest, strongest military. We defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. It was told to be 5 years. It was going to take 5 years, anywhere from 4 to 5 years. We did it in 4 weeks, with, by the way, headed by the general who's now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's why he's there. He said it would take 4 weeks, and he did it in 4 weeks. He did.
Yeah, they were talking about 5 years because of the military contracts. They want to drag it out and make as much money as possible before they went ahead and officially solved the problem.
Actually, a little bit faster. So we have a great country, and we're going to keep it that way. And when it comes to Los Angeles or other cities, if we see other cities are gearing up, and these people are agitators, they're paid, they're professionals, they're insurrectionists, they're troublemakers, they're all of those things. But I believe they're paid, and we're going to find out through Pam Bondi and her great staff, her great people at Justice, who they are. And Mike, I think you're doing some investigations in that in Congress, but we're going to find out who they are, because they're really, I think what they're doing is unbelievably illegal. Just one thing. So they took the bricks away from people. They're walking in with satchels of bricks. Now, why do you have bricks? You have bricks because you throw bricks. They're very potent. If they hit you, they kill you. And they took them away. The military took them away. They saw him. What the hell is this? The guy could hardly carry me. Many bricks. He's a strong guy, couldn't carry him. And they saw that, and they took him away. Then they found others with bricks. But they're ingenious. They also brought hammers along, very heavy hammers. And I saw them pounding the curb and pounding the sidewalk. And it was like a military operation. This guy's pounding strong, boom, big shots. And it was breaking up granite, the granite curbs. And the granite was breaking up, and the concrete was breaking up. And there was lines of people standing there, and they're handing him. And then he stopped handing them. They just went down and picked him up. It was so professional.
These peaceful
That's a professional organization. This is not like people at random. This guy's breaking up because they couldn't use the bricks. So who would think of this even? Did a lot of damage. A lot of curbs are broken. A lot of sidewalks broken. But I never saw that before. That's one I haven't seen. I thought I saw it all. And they have it on tape. And with that, people get killed. You know, they go to the bridges and they drop the concrete off the top of the bridge with a car coming along at 70 miles an hour, and the person dies. We had a lot of car problems. You saw that. They were all over the road. They were littered all over the road, where the cars got stopped by concrete going through the front windshield.
Yep.
Now, these are bad people. If we didn't go, Los Angeles right now would be on fire. It would be a disaster. And we stopped it. And last night was very good. Nobody showed up. You know why they didn't show up? Because we were there. If it was just the police, because the police are great. I know those police, they're great, but they're told not to do anything. They're not allowed to act.
Yeah, that's why you have the military there. So you said Trump is selling a gold card for U.S. residency for $5 million. So those illegal immigrants are okay to enter even if they are terrorists? It's not how the gold card works. When you buy the gold card, of course, you have to be vetted. But mainly the gold cards are for corporations to buy their way in order to help build their business and strengthen the infrastructure of the United States. They have to come in. They have to build their factories from scratch. I won't know this 1,000 times. They have to build their factories from scratch. as blue collar and white collar and their office parks. They have to build them from scratch, which puts American construction workers to work. It brings in American workers. This way they can avoid the tariffs. Scott Bessent, the last time we checked, and he talked about it, he said this was 2-3 months ago. He said there's over 1,000 corporations that have bought the Trump Gold Card, but they have to be vetted. Just like the people, if you're just a regular rich person and you spend $5 million for the Trump Gold Card, you have to be screened. You have to be vetted first. They're not just, you got $5 million, here you go. No, you have to be screened for that. You don't just get to walk in. All right. So they run a whole playbook on you. But speaking of terrorist activity, let's get on to the fireworks that happened today.
Thank you.
Our Federal Protective Services and also our Border Patrol agents have come and been partners with us in an incredible way. They bring a skill set that has helped us have a whole of government approach under the Department of Homeland Security that has never happened before. The assets that they have and the willingness to do their jobs that this president has allowed them to do has been absolutely incredible. But what you see standing behind me too is also other federal partners that have come to the table that are here to bring safety and security to the city of Los Angeles. I want to specifically thank the Army. I want to thank the Marines, the National Guard, our soldiers, our military men and women who have shown up here to help make sure that we have security. Not only do they protect our country around the world, but they're doing it every single day here in the United States of America too, and doing it as service, public service to the people in this country because they took an oath to uphold the law. We also have a U.S. attorney here who has been aggressive, has been making sure that we don't pick winners and losers in this country, that the rule of law will be followed, and that people who break the law and perpetuate violence will be brought to justice. They will be prosecuted, and there will be consequences for that kind of activity. The Department of Justice is here and has a presence in our Incident Command Center, as well as the DEA, the FBI, and their investigative teams have been fantastic with their leadership. And we also have the IRS here that's helping us track how these violent protesters are funded, what NGOs out there, what unions, what other individuals may be funding these violent perpetuators that are in these protests that take people who may be wanting to come and be peaceful, but instead turn these into very violent activities that go after law enforcement. That's just simply not acceptable. And I also want to thank our U.S. Marshals. They've been so great in helping us to secure facilities, but also operations, and also with transportation, that as soon as someone is arrested and brought into incarceration, that they are transported out and able to face prosecution and the consequences for their crimes. I want people to know that while these officers and these agencies and our military are here doing this work and these operations, that the people across this country are so grateful. They are so grateful for the work that is being done here in Los Angeles. They are setting an example for what is happening across the country in other cities, and putting together a model and a blueprint for how we can continue to work to make every single community great again and safe again for our kids and for our grandkids far into the future. I've been in many different states with all the different components that I represent over the last 4 or 5 days. And everywhere I go, people stop me and say, tell everybody who's working in Los Angeles that is working to bring safety to those city streets and to those families and protect those small business, tell them thank you. Tell them God bless you, that I hope that they are safe and they have been suffering. The people that live here under the policies of Governor Newsom and under the policies of Mayor Bass, and they recognize that it's a huge disservice to the people who have to try to raise their families here, and that these agents and that these law enforcement officers are working to change that and give them an opportunity to be successful and to live the American dream. Listen, many officers have been assaulted over the last several days. We did see before that assaults against law enforcement and ICE officers go up over 400%. In this situation, we've seen that increase even more. It's not acceptable. If you assault a law enforcement officer, we are going to come after you and we are going to arrest you, prosecute you, and put you away. That is not going to work. And under this administration with President Trump's leadership, one person is not better than another. Just because you think you're here as a citizen or because you're a member of a certain group or you're not a citizen, it doesn't mean that you're going to be protected and not face consequences from the laws that this country stands for. We have a constitution. We follow that constitution and the laws that have been passed by our Congress, and we're going to make sure they are equally applied to every single person as it applies under the Constitution here in Los Angeles, but also across the country. As our law enforcement officers have been assaulted, they've been pelted with rocks and bricks. Their cars have been set on fire. Molotov cocktails have been used. We have seen people throw bottles and hammers at them. We've also seen that they have been attacked and verbally spit on or punched or assaulted, and it's just not acceptable. The Department of Homeland Security and the officers and the agencies and the departments and the military people that are working on.
Quick question. Where did you all come from? Those that are watching right now, how did you hear about my channel? Go ahead, put it in the comment section while we get this done. But as you hear what she's saying, if you've been paying attention to the news, you see why they brought in the military. You see why they brought in the Marines, because the National Guard was not enough. When you have an insurrection from foreign nationals, they're pretty much, well, not pretty much, they're terrorists. They're terrorists, and understand that the cartel, I said this yesterday, I'm saying it again today for those of you that are new here. A lot of these governors and mayors that claim to be sanctuary cities, the way that they're fighting so hard to keep criminal illegals. I can see if you want to keep the illegals that are here to build a family and work hard. I can understand if you want to keep them here, because Trump's not ICE and Trump is not going after them. All right, they're not going after them. They're going after the ones that like the rape and murder girls for sport, the ones that sell fentanyl, the ones that like to commit murder, torture. All right, they're going after those people, mostly Trenda Alagra and MS-13 and all these other little gangs. But for these mayors and governors to fight so hard for these people, it's almost as if, and I wouldn't be surprised, because as much as we say that these people appear to be working for George Soros, I also think that these people might be under cartel control. And I'll take it back to when Tiffany Henyard, because keep in mind, she was draining the hell. She drained the hell out of Dalton, put them millions of dollars in debt, and she was trying to do the same thing to Thornton. But when Thornton Township cut off her money, she whispered into the hot mic, y'all putting my life in danger. Y'all trying to get me killed. What do you mean by that, Tiff? What do you mean? Because for all the money you stole, it seems like what little money that you kept for yourself, you spent on clothes and hair and makeup. You didn't buy a new car. You didn't buy any houses. It seems like the biggest thing you spent the money on that we could see was that skating rink for your daughter. But outside of that, where's the money? Where did the millions of dollars go? Because normally when you steal millions of dollars, you have something tangible to show for it outside of a new wardrobe and a skating rink. You were renting the house that you got evicted from. You put your boyfriend on the payroll. He making $100K a year, but somehow because of you, when the taxes, the land taxes went up, which caused the mortgages to go up. So your rent, the lady that you refused to pay rent to, your rent went from $2,000 to $2,400. And when the lady approached Kamal about the money, he told her that he couldn't pay $2,400 a month in rent off a $100K salary. Meanwhile, she's making a combined $300K from both jobs. So where's the money going? I would not be surprised if it all came out in the wash. And this is the beauty of this press conference, is that Kristi Noem, along with Kash Patel, they're now starting to trace the money. They're going after the money. Instead of going after the little guys, they want the big fish. Let's continue.
On this operation, we'll continue to sustain and increase our operations in this city. We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to...
All right, so this was the part where this jackass, Senator Alex Padilla, called himself trying to bum rush the podium because he got something to say. Dude, this is not your press conference. But let me back it up because you can hear him in the background. Before he got body slammed, like literally manhandled. I mean, they didn't body slam him like WWE style, but you know, he got police body slam. But let's run it.
And what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles. I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty. Unfettered. How they have been targeted and how their families have been put in jeopardy, and that we're not going to allow that anymore as well. That those individuals who are purposely endangering our ICE agents and our law enforcement officers and their families will be prosecuted for what they are doing as far as perpetuating violence on them. I want to know that the American people are grateful for our law enforcement officers. We will always respect them, and that President Trump is thankful for the leadership that has been shown by all of these agencies. In fact, President Trump did call in, and I did visit with him today. And
quick word. She talked about how some of these ICE agents, they're being doxxed. As I keep saying, everything is resting on Kash Patel and the FBI. Kash Patel is going through his second round of lie detector tests because he has to get rid of the ideologues and the dumbasses in the FBI. These guys have got to go. They got to go. The FBI is supposed to be impartial, supposed to be neutral. They're there to enforce law, not to lean left or right. They're supposed to be right down the middle. But you have too many people in the FBI that are left-leaning, like horribly left-leaning. So you have to do those rounds of lie detector tests in order to weed those people out. Some of them have been fired. A lot of them have been reassigned to like garbage. They get demoted and reassigned to like look into cow thefts in Des Moines somewhere. You know, I mean, like getting real crappy jobs, which they should be happy that they still have a job. But until he's able to clear out the rot in the FBI and the DOJ, some of this stuff is going to move very slowly. This is why people keep talking about the Epstein files. It's like, okay, chill out. Let Kash do his job, because he was the most integral piece of the puzzle to this whole cabinet. Let him do his job. Let him build his team. And then, and I mean, come on, it's only been what? The dude got nominated, he got sworn in on January 20th. It's June. Relax. Relax. I mean, we're not even literally at 6 months yet. Let the man do his job first. You'll get the important stuff out the way, and then we'll start getting into, you know, who was on Epstein Island diddling kids. We'll get to that. But this little situation with Alex Padilla, oh yeah. Oh, it exploded. We'll get to it though.
he also visited with all of.
But oh, that's right. But understand, you have FBI agents that are leaking information about ICE to these Democratic leaders, these mayors and governors. You even had them leaking information to back when they remember when they raided Aurora, Colorado. You had a radio station leaking information over the airways, and they're like, wait a minute, how the hell did you know about this? Come to find out, it was FBI agents. It was the FBI agents, and they got arrested and charged. I don't know why people think this administration is playing around when it comes to law and order, but they're not. I say it all the time. When you go for the king, you bet not miss. You bet not miss, because he is, swift and brutal. Let's go.
Of these agencies here this morning and thanked them for what they are doing to make sure that they are protecting the United States of America. The images that we've seen out of Los Angeles the last several days has simply been un-American by the protesters and the violence that we've seen perpetuated. Masked thugs are assaulting police officers. They're setting vehicles on fire. They're waving foreign flags on American soil while burning American flags. And they've damaged public property and destroyed private businesses. We need to make sure that we are continuing to protect the citizens that live here and want this community to be safe. Let me give you just a few examples of those who have been rioting that many politicians like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are defending. There was a Vietnamese illegal alien who committed a mass shooting at a graduation party in 1994 that we've been able to take off the streets. A Filipino illegal alien that was convicted of an assault with intent to commit rape that we've been able to bring up into custody and incarceration. You see behind you some more profiles of individuals that have brought into custody through the operations we have here. A Mexican illegal alien convicted of willfully cruelty to a child, and on and on and on. Those individuals and those criminals are now off the streets of Los Angeles because of the activities that have been conducted here in the last several days and will continue to operate for days to come. When these riots first began on Friday night, a federal law enforcement building was surrounded by over 1,000 violent rioters, and it took Los Angeles Police Department 2 hours to respond. So we are going to continue to operate with our federal partners and continue to keep asking the governor and the mayor for their support and their backup in these operations to make sure that all of our law enforcement officers are protected while they do their work. We're going to protect American cities from lawlessness, and we'll do what it takes to put the American citizens.
Yeah, I remember
first and
Signal
make sure
Gate,
they
and
have
that
an
had nothing to do with him.
to sleep safely in their beds at night. I just want to say, God bless all of our men and women of the military that serve, all of those who serve in our law enforcement agencies and in public service, that make great sacrifices away from their homes and from their families, but they do it because they believe in America and they believe in freedom and they believe in law and order. And that is what we are doing right here today and will continue to do for days to come until Los Angeles once again is at peace. So with that, we'll turn it over to our next speaker, which I believe will be Todd Lyons from ICE.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I'm Todd Lyons. I'm the acting ICE director. Also, I'm the National Incident Commander for the situation. But I'd just like to say thank you to Secretary Noem. She said it best. There's really not much more I can say. It's without her leadership that we wouldn't be out here conducting this mission. President Trump fully has our back on this one, and we're doing the will of the American people. I want to thank the brave men and women of ICE, HSI, ERO, our attorneys with the Office of Public Legal Counsel, because without them, this would not be possible. They put their lives on the line every day. You also see my fellow agency heads here with me and many that are not up here on stage. The men and women of law enforcement have been putting themselves in harm's way every night since we've been here in Los Angeles.
I'm trying.
What we've done here is taken a whole government approach for this immigration mission. You know, under the last administration, there were millions upon millions of people that we don't know who came to this country. They were let in, that now have turned violent, criminals. Also, we have known suspected terrorists and gang members. Since January 20th, we've been making arrests in Los Angeles and all around the country. But specifically, we focused on gang members, human traffickers, violent drug dealers, and rapists. You know, the Secretary brought it up. You know, the rhetoric of a lot of elected officials and people, what really caused this. We've heard so much. If ICE had a criminal warrant, if ICE had a judicial warrant, cities would cooperate with us. On this past Friday, you saw that. You saw the men and women of ICE and these other DOJ partners executing a criminal warrant on a criminal immigration enforcement case. Yet the city turned against us and we had violent protesters. And that just won't happen because the men and women of ICE won't be deterred by this. We're going to be out there every day conducting our law enforcement mission. No protesters are going to block our way because the brave men and women of ICE and these DOJ partners you see up here, along with our partners with the Los Angeles Police Department, are going to ensure that we handle these protesters, but we are out there safely conducting these operations and we will get the worst off the street. And I also like to thank the Department of Defense and National Guard who has come here to assist us on that. You know, we will prosecute all these cases. Just, you know, the Secretary highlighted so many, you see them up here. But we have
a quick pause. So, Lila and B-Bass, where did you all hear about my channel? I'd like to know. Because I don't think snatching criminals, illegal criminals off the street, I don't think that's a laughing matter.
Man from Mexico who fled and hid in Los Angeles for killing a woman. You have an MS-13 gang member who killed 2 individuals during a botched catalytic converter theft ring case. These aren't the individuals you want in Los Angeles. These aren't the individuals you want in the United States.
Yeah, this is waste and fraud, right?
Doing their job.
This is waste and
fraud.
fraud.
Best of our ability with our DOJ partners. With the Secretary's leadership.
Yeah, because, you know, criminality.
The U.S. Attorney
Negroes love criminality.
Continue enforcing the immigration mission that President Trump and the American people expect us to do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the FBI. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of FBI Los Angeles. As you know, the FBI has been assisting the Department of Homeland Security with immigration enforcement since February. We're just one of...
Hold on. So you say Netanyahu needs U.S. support. Now Israel has attacked Iran. Yeah, I saw that. And my thing is this. I'll let them fight their own battles. I would do exactly what Russia told U.S. to do. Stay out of it. And if I was Trump, I'd stay out of it. I'd stay out of it. Like, you handle your own battles. Like, we're talking to Iran. Whatever you're doing with Iran has nothing to do with us. We're talking to Iran. We'll let y'all fight it out. Anyway, let's get back to the real stuff here. See what the FBI guys to say.
One of many field offices of security with immigration enforcement since February. We're just one of many field offices doing this nationwide as directed by the Attorney General. And we're accustomed to providing investigative and technical assistance to law enforcement at all levels on a regular basis. We have agents embedded with our operational teams with DHS. Our help vary depending on what DHS needs, and they let us know moment by moment. We have significant tactical resources across the enterprise here throughout our 7-county AOR to assist and support these efforts. That said, we find ourselves defending operations from violent offenders. The FBI safeguards constitutionally protected rights. We investigate civil rights violations on a daily basis, but some activity keeps taking place among righteous protesters is not civil. It's violent. We're going to investigate allegations of violence, whether it's assault on law enforcement officers or civilians, looting, arson, doxing, or damage to public property. So please, I'm asking the community, do not put your life in jeopardy by hurting someone or destroying property. You will be held accountable by the FBI, and it's not worth it. I'd like to highlight 2 cases.
Yeah, because, I mean, what are you saying? You people need that. People, look, those of us that are over the age of 40, we grew up before the internet. But we are now in an Orwellian society. There are cameras everywhere. Remember the chick, the Carly chick that claimed that she was kidnapped by 2 white folks and they fed her Cheetos or Doritos or some crap like that, Cheez-Its. Yeah, so she said they fed her Cheez-Its and stroked her hair. Her story unraveled immediately because they got cameras up on the freeway showing her driving at least 40 miles per hour, talking with her hazard song, talking about I'm following her baby. Like, damn, that must be one fast toddler. You're doing 40 miles per hour, you know, in the freaking emergency lane. Not a baby in sight. And then when she showed up back home, they got ring cameras from all the neighbors showing her just strolling, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And then when she got like a house and a half away, I was kidnapped. Yeah, they gave her a year. Like, who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? They have cameras everywhere. You see the guy that was throwing the rocks at the police cars as they was driving by? They identified him, less than 24 hours later. The fool had on his baseball jersey, his softball minor league or, whatever, auto park store, softball league. He had on the jersey. They identified him like this. And now he's on the run. There is no escape. You can sit up here and throw a rock at a cop all you want to and think that because you got on the mask, you got away. But what they'll do is they'll just follow this person. The technology is so amazing. They just type it in, follow this person, track this person. And then all of the public access cameras that they can get their hands on just tracks you and picks you up. And the second you get in your car, thinking you drove away and you done got away, they got your license plate. And by the time you get home and you sitting there with your feet up, thinking you did something all proud, all of a sudden, they got you. Orwellian society. Gotta love it.
For you to show what the FBI's line of effort is in this overall DHS-led operation. Elpidio Reyna is a fugitive. He is wanted for the alleged assault of a federal officer in the city of Paramount in California on June 7th, 2025. Reyna allegedly threw rocks at law enforcement vehicles on Alondra Boulevard in Paramount and injured
That's the guy that had the baseball jersey.
Weighs around 165 pounds and is 5'7". Reyna has a tattoo on his left arm with the word Carmen on it.
This dude is on the run. He can't even go home.
Will be caught, and when he is, he will face a statutory maximum penalty of 8 years in prison. This is such a priority for the United States government that there is a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to his arrest.
Yeah, they're gonna make an example out of him.
$50,000.
They're gonna make a
for information leading
that dude
to his arrest.
He gonna
The
wish
second
he
case
never
I'd
did
like to
that.
highlight is on a subject named Alejandro Oriana. Alejandro was providing masks and face shields to violent rioters throughout the week and was arrested by our SWAT teams this morning.
Yep.
With the success and appreciation and assistance from the United States Attorney's Office, that case is ongoing, but Oriana is in custody as we speak.
Remember I was showing the video yesterday where they were showing the guy like they were passing out those face shields. They had boxes and boxes of them. They was passing out the face shields. Well, yeah, the guy that was driving the truck, he works for a Democrat organization, an NGO. Hispanic dude. Got his face clear as day, getting out of the truck, looking up at the camera like, yeah. That's why Christy Noem them, they're going after the money. They want to know, who do you work for? Who gave you this order? And do understand, they got these face shields. They sell these face shields at Walmart. And I think the female CEO of Walmart, one of the owners, she is anti-Trump. Okay? So therefore, she is partaking in anti-American behavior. Do not think because you're a billionaire, you're above having these silver bracelets put on your wrists. Don't think you're above it. There are plenty of millionaires and billionaires that have went to prison. Okay, we don't hear about it, but it happens. Think what was it? Let's see, Jeffrey Epstein, Bernie Madoff. You're looking at Puffy. He's looking at prison time. All right. So you've got two Jews and a black. Okay. 2 Jews and a black. So 2 Jews went to jail. Don't think you too rich to go to jail. All right. Now you got the black guy. Like, oh my God. Not with this administration. They not playing unless you cut a deal like Eric Adams did. Eric Adams cut the deal to avoid prison time. They quid pro quo'd him. That brother was sweating. He was sweating. He was so glad when Trump won.
If you have information or evidence of violent acts, please either call 1-800-CALL-FBI, visit tips.fbi.gov,
Yes, he is. Yeah.
or send images or video to our digital tip line at fbi.gov/LA office assault. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Chief Bovino, United States Border Patrol. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. I'm Greg Bovino, Chief Patrol Agent of the El Centro Border Patrol Sector and Lead Federal Coordinator for Customs and Border Protection entities here in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. So what are the Democrats? What are
Entities
they?
include
Are they your
U.S.
saviors?
Border Patrol, Office of Field Operations, and CBP Air and Marine. We have several hundred agents and officers here in Los Angeles right now as we speak. Our primary mission here in Los Angeles revolves around Title 8 United States Code. Let me say that again. Title 8 United States Code. Those are our immigration statutes. If you look behind us at these pictures on the wall, immigration's not a victimless crime. A lot of bad people, a lot of bad things are in our country now, including Los Angeles. For Customs and Border Protection, that's why we're here right now, is to remove those bad people and bad things, whether illegal aliens, drugs, or otherwise. We're here, we're not going away. Border Patrol, Office of Field Operations, and Air and Marine, you'll see us in Los Angeles. You'll continue to see us in Los Angeles, not going anywhere soon. As for the violence and the demonstrators, violence will not deter us, the CBP mission here in Los Angeles. I believe we saw that last Sunday night out at Paramount. We continued to conduct our patrols as we saw necessary in the middle of that riot. And we'll continue to do that from here on out. Our allied law enforcement agencies, many of whom you've already heard from, whether it's HSI, ERO, FBI, ATF, and all others, join with us as we conduct that Title 8 mission. Very historic. First time I've ever seen it in my almost 30-year career. It's actually breathtaking. Many millions of illegal aliens have passed across that border over the past several years. It's our job to get them out. And that's what we are going to do, and that's what we're doing right now.
I'm going to say this to you, Donnie. That is a military parade. That's not for Trump. That's a military parade. My father is a veteran. You can go fuck yourself. And I speak for every veteran in here. You can go fuck yourself. For every veteran in here, you can go fuck yourself talking like that. Back to the program.
Now, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kenny Cooper. I'm a special agent in charge, ATF, LA Field Division. The Department of Justice will not be deterred from enforcing this nation's laws. ATF is on the ground doing what we do best, fighting violent crime and protecting our communities regardless of the environment around us. Our agents are trained to operate in high threat, high tension situations. When federal authorities move to execute court authorized warrants, we support that mission with professionalism, precision, and resolve. ATF stands shoulder to shoulder with our federal partners in this whole of government approach. ATF stands also shoulder to shoulder, including to carry out our immigration enforcement mission.
Come on, bro. Speak it out.
If a criminal threat intersects with that mission, we bring our full capacities to the table.
Looks like I lost a lot of troll accounts.
A lawful federal operation, especially through violence or threats, is not protective activity. It's a crime. And those who cross that line will be held to account. We don't get to pick and choose when to enforce the law. Our job is to uphold it always. ATF will continue to pursue violent offenders, support our partners, and keep doing the hard work this public demands.
They are cracking down. They are cracking down. They're done playing.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Saley, the United States Attorney for the Central District of California.
All right, so I pretty much kind of get the idea of, I mean, we kind of got a feeling of what's going on here. Everybody's pretty much saying the same thing. I'm going to move it forward to show you what happened after Alex Padilla got arrested or body slammed. Let's go for it. The different angle of what happened to him.
Hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
Hands behind your back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording loud in here. I do not know. There's no recording.
Somebody explain to me why Democrats think that they can do whatever the hell they want.
That's my boss. There's no recording loud on here.
They act like low IQ, narcissistic children.
Had a great conversation, sat down, talked for 10, 15 minutes about operations in LA, some activities of the Department of Homeland Security. And so I thought it was very productive. And I wish that he would have reached out and identified himself and let us know who he was and that he wanted to talk. His approach, was something that I don't think was appropriate at all. But the conversation was great, and we're going to continue to communicate. We exchanged phone numbers, and we're going to continue to talk on ways we can communicate better.
Why was that the action you decided to take?
I'll let the law enforcement speak to how this situation was handled, but I will say that it's people need to identify themselves before they start lunging at people that during press conferences.
Is it appropriate?
Right, because what he did, he tried to bum rush the podium. He tried to bum rush the podium. The FBI, her security detail, they snatched him up. Secret Service snatched him up real quick and shoved him right out the room. He couldn't wait to take questions or anything. He just, thought that because he was a senator or whatever, I can do whatever the hell I want to do. No. You sitting up here looking like Maxine Waters when she got that door shut in her face and was looking stupid. And look at this guy. This dude look like, try something, I dare you.
Did he apologize, Secretary?
So let's hear what he had to say after getting beat up.
Since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions.
What do you need to know? Okay, understand. I'm operating under the auspices that these guys are cartel controlled because, as Tom Homan said, they brought all these illegals in, so therefore they can, as Democrats, get more seats in Congress. So therefore, they can block anything that the Republicans are doing. They can actually file for impeachment on Trump and everything. They're trying to do this to gain power. This is one of the main reasons why Trump is getting rid of the criminals. And now that they have more than read access to Social Security numbers, they can now clear out the roads. And you heard today, it looks like he's going to make special provisions for those who work in agriculture and in the service industry, because you need those people in order to keep your businesses rolling. But outside of that, though, the rest of you are on your own. Once they find that second birthday and beyond on the Social Security number, you're out of here. Your Social Security number will become null and void because you're committing identity theft. You're out of here. You're going to have to self-deport through the app. And we know, as the app does, you can book your flight, And when you land, they give you $1,000 stipend. $1,000 stipend. You get paid. Therefore, you can pick back up, get you a place, get reacclimated back into your native area that you came from, have a little money in your pocket. You good to go. You're good to go. Unless, of course, you're the criminal element, you don't want to leave, then you get caught by ICE and you get detained and deported. So, but, oh, fuck you. Where did these people come from? Where you come from, Brian? What douchebag on YouTube or is whatever social media site sent you people here? Because, I mean, you make no sense. Trump is the criminal. Okay, yeah, okay. You probably somebody that probably need to be deported. At any rate, these people appear to be cartel controlled. They're trying to seize power. The only way as a Democrat you can seize power right now is you have to control Congress. And if you can't control Congress because you don't have the numbers, you don't have the representation, then your party is dead in the water. Your party's dead in the water. So this is what they're really fighting for. They're fighting for control. And the only people that would fight to keep criminal illegals in the country are people who are under a foreign power. That's
more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries.
They've already told you.
And
even
so
I know what's going
I came
on.
to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information.
So you want to ambush the press conference?
And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question.
You tried to interrupt and bum rush the press conference.
Forcibly removed from the room.
Yeah.
I was forced to the ground.
Yeah.
And I was handcuffed.
Yeah.
I was not arrested.
Yeah.
I was not detained.
Yeah, you were detained. That's what handcuffs mean. Detained.
If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farmers, to cooks, to day laborers.
They're doing absolutely nothing to these people.
Throughout the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.
They're doing absolutely nothing to those people.
Will hold this administration accountable. And we'll have more to say. We'll have more to say in the coming days. Let me say just briefly in Spanish as well.
Go ahead.
Soy el senador Alex.
Go ahead. Show your true allegiance. Show your true allegiance.
Para recibir más información de los representantes de la administración, especialmente porque desde el principio del término de Donald Trump y especialmente esta última semana por lo que ha ocurrido aquí en la región de Los Ángeles, hemos pedido más información para entender las pólizas, las estrategias
Play my small violin.
de la administración. Y las respuestas han sido mínimas. Tuve una cita aquí para recibir más información cuando me di cuenta que la secretaria Noem tenía una rueda de prensa en el mismo edificio, en el mismo piso. Calmamente.
Oh, you say you hope I wake up soon. I used to be a Democrat. I used to be Democratic until Obama showed me that they use black people as cannon fodder. They always have. And now this time they're using the Hispanics as cannon fodder, the Democratic Party, which does nothing for people of color except use them for cannon fodder in order for them to gain power. They have never done anything for black people. The only thing they did for Hispanics is set them up the past 4 years to fail. And now you're trying to use the Hispanics to start a second civil war. That's what you're really doing as Democrats. So you please tell me, what am I asleep on? Educate me, Brian. Come on, you're smart. Supposedly, you're here. Let's hear it. What am I missing? Because I'll say it again, like I said it yesterday. You can't go 10 minutes without the internet, let alone an hour without electrical power. You will freak the hell out. You probably have at least 1 to 3 weeks worth of food saved up in your place, be it an apartment or a house. If suddenly society collapsed because we were caught up in the second civil war, you would die within a month, if not 3. You're not ready for it. You're not built for this. You a bitch. You a bitch. All of you sitting up here talking stuff, y'all bitches. You're not built for this. You just running your mouth. You keyboard warriors. You probably don't even have 80 bottles of water in your house. You probably only have a generator. You probably eat from Uber Eats a lot, at least 3 times a week. So what am I supposed to be waking up from? You're watching this in front of your face, but I guess what? You were you're so anti-American that you think that if illegals destroy the country, everything's just gonna be just fine. You still gonna get up and go to work in the morning, work your little 9 to 5, get your little gas, not realizing that the second civil war breaks out in this country, supply lines stop, they cease to operate immediately. Nobody's shipping their goods into a war-torn area. That's why I asked, who sent you? Where did you come from? Tell me where you came from. I know there's a douchebag out here on YouTube that probably is posting my link somewhere. Oh, listen to what this nigga got to say. This nigga coon. Okay, go ahead. Tell me who it is. Tell me who it is. Because all this pro-blackity black bullshit is going to get you killed in today's society. It prepares you for nothing. All it does is just give you an emotional dopamine hit. And that's it. You sound like this dude. This dude. I feel that I can bum rush a conference and storm the podium and it's my right to do this. How dare they force me out of the room and detain me for acting like a narcissistic, spoiled grown man of a child trying to start an argument when these people are talking about national security. Did you not hear about the criminals they detained? If you such a big badass, then go on out there and fight with them. Fight for white folks, aka the Democratic Party, who want you in bread lines and suit lines, who want you to own nothing and be happy. Go fight for them. Go ahead. Be a bitch and take your ass out there and do it. You forget, as an American, I don't give a fuck what you think. You live here. If this falls, there's nowhere you can go where you'll be comfortable. Nowhere on earth. That is, if you're able to leave. Do you have a passport? Do you have at least 150K in cash? 75K in cash? Some type of steady income that's going to come in to fund your lifestyle if this shit goes tits up and you leave the country? No. So shut the fuck up talking like you tough. But I'm the dumb one. Okay.
Esfuerzos, las acciones del departamento.
I know. Somebody on YouTube posted my link somewhere. Because before you got here, it was like 33 people up here. You know what, Saul?
Todo tranquilo.
Saul, I have no problem with people asking questions. I have no problem with people asking questions. But this right here, that's not a question. This right here, please quit talking. You really are embarrassing yourself with your stupidity and hatred. That's not the question. That's somebody being a douchebag that don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's somebody with a democratic mentality. I don't mind you guys asking questions. What's the name? Who was that? And they'll tell you. I don't mind people asking questions. Bobby's son was asking questions when he was in here. He was asking questions. I don't have a problem answering questions. But don't get insulting because you have a democratic mentality. I don't have the patience for that. I do not have the patience for that. I never had the patience for that, and I'll never have it. You want to be disrespectful? I'll get disrespectful right back with you. We're not friends. I don't know you, and you bet not run up on me because I don't. Try it.
Pregunta, y casi inmediatamente los agentes me sacaron, me forzaron de la sala. Primero me hicieron hincar, después completamente al piso me pusieron esposas. No me arrestaron, no me detenieron. Pero una gran pregunta es esta. Si esta es la reacción a un senador con una pregunta, imagínense lo que están haciendo aleros. No vio el uniforme en este momento en los días. Just throughout and a lot of people are beginning to, there's a lot of concern here in Los Angeles again. Just want to once again, for not just the community here in Los Angeles, but throughout the country. Because there is a lot of concern, there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of anxiety, and a lot of people are beginning to make plans for what they may or may not do come this Saturday. I encourage everybody to please peacefully protest, just like I was calmly and peacefully listening in that press conference and preparing, attempting to ask a question. No violence, no vandalism. Please continue peacefully protesting, and that's all I will have to say today. Thank you very much.
Now, see, if you notice, they're telling people now suddenly they're trying to change the message to peacefully protest, because what they were saying before, my birthday is Sunday. I would love nothing more than for Elon Musk to be taken down, despite, in the midst of people vandalizing Tesla dealerships and people's personal cars as if that hurts Elon. These cars are already paid for. The only thing you did was hurt the average working Joe that bought them an electric vehicle. The things that y'all was ramming down people's throats that they should buy because save the environment. It's amazing how quickly that went out the window. So now they're trying to say peacefully protest. How about you just tell people don't protest at all? But what he's talking about is Saturday is that they call themselves having a No King's Day protest. That's what they call themselves having. But these protests, they are paying people to protest. These are paid agitators. These aren't, I mean, there are some regular folks who are stupid enough to get caught up in this that are doing it, but the majority of these people are paid protesters. And they actually have people that they pay more, they have them on the payroll. Like when Trump was saying there's a guy, he was breaking up the sidewalk. Yeah, they have people that are on the payroll that they pay to do that. Say that's what they say with no proof. That's why they're looking into the money. That's exactly why they're looking into the money, Demetrius. They're trying to figure out like who's in charge of these NGOs. No, I got you. That's why they're looking into the people that are running these NGOs that are paying these people to do that, because these idiots are putting out Craigslist ads trying to hire, you know, the big tough bad guys to come out and do these protests. Yeah, you see, I think if I owned that Waymo franchise, 5 Porsche cars torched at $200,000 each, that'll bankrupt you. Yep, but I would sue the hell out of the NGO that had those people on the payroll. I would sue the hell out of them. So let's see the reaction from this. There's a couple more reactions and then we'll get into it. But do us again understand these reactions, to me, they're coming from people who are on cartel payrolls. Let's go.
While retaining the right to the floor.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. I just watched footage of our colleague, my California colleague, Senator Alex Padilla, being forcibly removed from a briefing by the Secretary of Homeland Security's staff.
Yeah, her security
Went
team.
there to observe and to ask questions, and I watched with
your security team don't jack you up just because you raised your hand.
These agents grab my colleague, my fellow senator from California, grab him, push him out of the hearing as he was identifying himself as a U.S. senator, bring him into a hallway, bring him down to the ground, bring his arms behind his back.
Send it. If you got the link, send it.
I saw this happen to my colleague.
Post the link. I'll do it.
I am shocked by how far we have descended in the first 140 days of this administration, where we have a president calling out the military over the objection of a governor to try to intimidate and interfere with law enforcement in California, calling out the Marines to try to inflame tensions in our city, and now this latest act when a U.S. senator goes to demand questions about the lawfulness or lawlessness of these actions, to see him tackled to the ground, brought to the ground.
Yeah, because you don't rush a podium. What? It was a security briefing, and he tried to rush the podium. So you say for Democrats, they will? Yes. When Democrats act like spoiled children who think that they can do whatever, you know, like when Maxine Waters called herself trying to get in that detention facility, and the dude shut the door in her face, said, make an appointment, and shut the door in her face, and she turned around looking. No, he tried to rush the podium. That's why he got pushed out and detained. He didn't raise his hand like, excuse me, I have a question. No, he tried to rush the podium, and they was like, get the hell up out of here. You say you only have a screenshot? Like, just like y'all, who is y'all? I don't work for the government. You mean they? And Monica MacGyver, who's looking at 17 years in prison for putting her hands on a federal agent. Just because you work in government as a congressman or a senator doesn't mean that you get to break the law. Wasn't that the one thing the Democrats were saying all of the past 4 years? You're not above the law. Next, they're going to say he pushed him. You're not above the law. And the Democrats, look, the Democrats have taken on the embodiment that they're untouchable when they're not. You're so used to the Biden administration letting you get away with stealing money and all of this stuff and doing whatever you want to do and act all crazy. The Trump administration is not doing, they're not letting you get away with that. And I've been saying for months, it's going to be a hot summer. You're going to see a lot of Democrats with silver bracelets on because of their own stupidity, their own actions. And that's exactly what you're seeing.
What is becoming of our democracy? Are there no limits to what this administration will do?
What happened to We Go High?
Is there no line they will not cross?
She didn't shove nobody. Okay, all right.
After lawlessness, we see threats to judges of impeachment and of physical harm. We see arrests of members of Congress. And now this. All of us have lived as part of a generation since World War II that was used to seeing our freedoms ever expanding. We saw walls coming down.
Yeah, you're getting too much freedom.
Being born.
Too much freedom.
We came to think that somehow this was inevitable, like the laws of nature, that it was the moral arc of the universe always bending towards justice, only to see that it was not bending towards justice. And to see this now at home, to see in the United States of America, the executive use force like this against a member of a co-equal branch of government, to see that it has come to this already.
You know what? I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad the new listeners or viewers who, I mean, Demetrius, okay, Demetrius, tell me where you came from. How did you find my channel? Because I'm going to address your question, but I want to know how you found this channel. So you said distraction all day and what is really happening. No charges and the Republicans going to lose their seats midterms. I'll go back again. Everything sits on Kash Patel. He's building his FBI because you need FBI agents you can trust to do these investigations. You've got guys that can handle the local stuff, but this is big stuff. Now, you say the Republicans are going to lose their seats midterms, and I've been saying this for a minute. Those of y'all, they know. I know I'm a broken record with this. What's going to happen is this summer, a lot of these Democrat leaders are going to find themselves in silver bracelets. They're going to find themselves facing charges. You have a lot of them that have already been referred to by the DOJ for the money that they have been stealing via USAID that Doge has been finding. But everything rests on Kash Patel. All right. Hold on, but Demetrius, you talking, but you're not telling me how did you find my channel? How'd you find my channel? Who sent you? Those of you who this is your first time here, who sent you? Go ahead, tell me who sent you. Who sent you? How'd you find it? I just want to know. But scrolling, okay, that's interesting. At any rate, you're going to see it's going to be a hot summer. You're going to watch a lot of Democrats with bracelets and charges. They're not going to lose the they're not going to lose the midterms. Not to the Democrats. Not to the Democrats. You say Kash is not releasing nothing. I didn't say anything in there. So I sense liars. Well, what is there to lie about? You're listening to these people. You're seeing it for yourself. Let's go.
And not a peep yet from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah.
No whisper of dissent yet.
I hope that
changes. I hope that changes. The founders separated the powers between the executive and the legislative and the judiciary because they wanted to set ambition against ambition of one institution against another to protect all of our freedom. But that requires that we go beyond our partisan affiliations. And when something is wrong, dead wrong, when something is a threat to our democracy, that we call it out regardless of party. And this is wrong. This is wrong.
You know what's wrong? What's wrong is letting the BLM protests destroy cities and then using that to weaken citywide policing with defund the police and then decriminalizing the biggest thing that police officers respond to, which is petty theft. You decriminalize petty theft. Anything under $1,000 or $990, depending on what county you're in, I mean, you're pretty much better off not calling the police. Which, wow, especially if you're a teenager, if you're under 18, which led to mass looting by teenagers in all sorts of stores, from gas stations to high-end stores, stealing all that they can, and then turning the merchandise in to fencers who worked for rich people, mainly in California, who turned around and sold the goods on eBay. Okay, who wound up turning around and selling the stuff on eBay. They caught one woman. She turned around there. She was living in a $1.2 million property. And when they did the raid on her house, her garage was set up like a factory. She had a huge garage. It was set up like a factory. Right, yeah, but all these burnt down businesses have insurance. Walgreens is a multi-million-dollar business, man. Yeah, and how many Walgreens have shut down? Matter of fact, Chicago doesn't even have a Walmart. Chicago lost a lot of grocery stores. Portland, Oregon, there are 2 Walmarts that they had, which is probably one of the biggest shitholes in the country. They lost both of their Walmarts, and Portland is a white area, so it's not just black folks. A lot of businesses have left Oakland. Matter of fact, Oakland is so desolate they don't even have a professional sports team. So a lot of businesses shut down. In fact, there are practically no businesses in downtown San Francisco because of crime. And the real estate was going for dirt cheap because of the crime and the loss of businesses. You know who bought all that real estate? You know who bought all that real estate up? Demetrius, come on. Let's have a dialogue. Hold on, no. Answer the question. Who bought up a lot of real estate in San Francisco and also across the country? Who bought it? The Chinese, but the Chinese bought a lot of farmland. But yes, BlackRock, who helped to fund this operation. As the Democrats, they tried to force homosexuality on children. They supported crime, that new crime bill where you defunded the police. They supported that. They tried to weaken America through the Democratic Party. You say, name a case, liar. What case are you talking about? We covered this. Jibba, did I not cover this all of last year for the past 2 years? Did I not cover that? Before I even opened this channel, I covered all of this. We saw evictions skyrocket. We saw crime skyrocket. And all of this was backed by the Democratic Party. What do you mean, name a case? You said we teach sexual stuff. Really? Are you trying to play like rainbow flags were not in classrooms? You trying to play like lesbian, trans, and bisexual gay teachers were not in classrooms putting dresses on little black boys Yeah, I do miss Embrace Villainy. I do miss that channel. Man, good Lord. That channel would give me headaches to watch black people fall into the pits of despair every other day. A lot of flags in classrooms. Yeah, and a lot of Little Boy Blue. Why don't you go Google that book? You say 11 watching good, a small audience. Yeah, Joe, I actually like it when it's small like this. Because, you know, it weeds out a lot of the trolls. I have to be honest. Yeah, teaching kindergarten kids how to wear a condom, teaching little boys how to give older males oral sex, teaching little boys how to receive anal sex, teaching little girls how to cut off they're born in the wrong body and they need to cut off their breasts. We're going to pretend like none of that is happening. Look at that. Name a case, liar. How they teach gay stuff. You know what? I'm going to have to continue. I'm just going to see you as disingenuous because we covered all of this last year. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you're a troll. You're a piece of shit troll because I'm not going to put up with this. How do you sit up here and say that you know it was BlackRock, but suddenly now you want to act obtuse to what they were doing to kids in school? Okay. All right. I'm done talking to you. At any rate, meanwhile, the Democrats, they brought all of these illegals into the country. It was so bad. Hey, do me a favor, Jibba, handle that. You're a mod. Do what you do. I'm not scared of nobody gay. What you talking about? Everybody's got a gay cousin. I got a gay cousin. I ain't scared of him. What you talking about? Oh, you scared of gay people? I worked in the hotel industry for damn near 25 years. I'm not scared of gay people. Shoot, some of the best people I've worked with that was funny as hell were gay people. So shut up. Stop it. And I've been working in hotels since I was like 25 years old. Nobody's scared of anybody gay. What is there to be scared of? Shut up. I swear to God, you must be gay. That's why you said that. Okay, you're a homosexual. It's fine. I don't have a problem with you being a homosexual, but stop it. Don't be obtuse for the sake of trying to act like you're trying to win on the internet. Right, mandating gender affirming care for 12-year-olds without parental consent in California. The story of the little girl, her name was Sage. She was 15 years old up there in Virginia. And I covered this. She was pretending to be gay or male identifying, and the school was forcing her to use the boys' bathroom, forcing her to use the boys' bathroom. And the boys, of course, you know, they're teenage boys. They're going to say horrible, disgusting things to her. So she was scared to use the bathroom, and the school had convinced her that she couldn't talk to her parents, which was her aunt and her grandmother, because her parents were dead. So the school convinced her that her caregivers, her aunt and her grandmother, wouldn't understand. So the teacher convinced her that she was her confidant and the only person that she could talk to. So as she was relating this information to her school teacher had a bug out bag for her hidden in the closet and said, if you ever feel like running away, just let me go. Let me know, and I'll give you this bug out bag, and I'll give you the number to a guy that you could go to, and he'll take care of you. So she convinced the little girl that, you know, she had no support system except for this teacher. So the teacher gave her the bug out bag and the number to the guy. And the girl called the guy came and picked her up, and the guy started immediately pimping her out, turned her into a prostitute. She and the guy were arrested for sex trafficking. And the detention facility, when they called her parents or her guardians, her aunt and her grandmother, when they went to go see her, because she was facing charges for prostitution. So when they saw her, they called her by her real name. The court in Virginia said that calling her by her real name was child abuse. So therefore, they denied releasing her to her custodial guardians. And then they were trying to force her to have her at 15. They were trying to cut off her breasts against her will because she was male identifying. She escaped the facility, wound up hooking up with another grown man who prostituted her all the way down to Texas. Keep in mind, this girl was a virgin when all this started. Prostituted her all the way down to Texas, where they were arrested for sex trafficking. They called her parents, transferred her back to Virginia, and finally reunited her with her aunt and her grandmother. And when the news finally talked to her and asked her what was really going on, you know what she said? Why everything went left? She said, well, I was just trying to make friends. I was just trying to make friends. So she pretended to be male identifying. And this was the ordeal that she went through. Prostituted out on 2 separate occasions, almost had her breast chopped off by the state against her will, and incarcerated. A little 15-year-old girl named Sage. But I'm scared of gay people. The fuck out of here. Like, you people are sick. The things that y'all did, that you are doing to children are sick. There's a girl right now in Denver, Colorado. She is mentally ill and she ran away from home. She was convinced to run away from home to be in the care of a trans man who's been sexually abusing her. Her parents went to go get her from this man pretending to be a woman, and the state will not allow her, a minor, to be returned to her parental home because they feel that because they're calling their daughter by her name, a literal documented mentally ill girl, they feel that that's child abuse, so she can stay in the care of this trans man, this pedophile who groomed her into believing that her parents was evil and to stay with her, stay with him. Right, scared of gay people in Atlanta. Right, this is like the black gay mecca. The fuck out of here, man. I swear to God, these people. You're ridiculous. That's why I swear to God, as a Democratic people are retarded at this point. You can't be this stupid. But you know what? You are. You are, because after dealing with 4 years of being allowed to let your narcissistic personality as a Democrat to just run unchecked and amok, you think that anybody that goes against you is some type of istophobe. You think you have all the answers. But you're the dumbest people on the planet. You're trying to start, your Democratic leaders are trying to start a second civil war. You lost before, you'll lose again. Because in case you forgot, remember all those gun nuts that you were afraid of and trying to, oh, we need gun rights and all this stuff. You do understand you were talking about Republicans, not Democrats. You think those people gave up their guns? I am thoroughly surprised that the Republican Party, or at least white people who are Republicans who have been training for this type of scenario all their lives, I'm surprised they haven't popped up out of the woodwork yet. I think they learned their lesson from Trump's first presidency with Charlottesville, I think they've decided to just wait, and they're waiting to pick their battle. I think they're waiting for society to so-called, or the social order. I think they're waiting for it to fall, so that way they can do what they do without prosecutorial consequences. That's what I think. I was called a bot by some black socialists when I typed illegal alien invaders. Yeah, but I think they're waiting. I think they're just waiting for their moment. I am so surprised they haven't made a move, but I think that's what it is. But you kind of get an idea where Adam Schiff is going. Let's see here. You guys have really thrown me off. Let's see here. Let's go to, yeah, should we go to AOC? Miss Rico is not a crime, or should we just, yeah, no, I hate to hear her voice. Let's see. Mike Johnson called. Okay, let's see what's going on with the Speaker of the House, and then we'll go from there. Because of course the Democrats are saying, "Oh, it's not right, it's not fair." That's pretty much the gist of everything that they have to say.
Did federal agents go too far the way they treated Senator Padilla today? Was that a bridge too far?
I saw the same video, a very brief video that I think many people did. I think the senator's actions, my view is it was wildly inappropriate. You don't charge a sitting cabinet secretary, and everybody can draw their own conclusions. You can see it's a heated debate here.
Oh, that's next. Oh, we're going to get into that next, right after this.
I think the American people can draw their own conclusions. They saw a senator acting like wildly inappropriate. I'll leave it at that. So. What I saw was agents asking him to quiet down so that the secretary could continue her press conference. He refused to do so. What were they supposed to do? They have to restrain someone who is engaging in that kind of behavior. They moved him out of the room. A sitting member of Congress should not act like that. It is beneath a member of Congress. It is beneath a U.S. senator. They're supposed to lead by example, and that is.
How is Mike Johnson a small-minded shit? This is Mike Johnson. This is the Speaker of the House. He's one of the people that blew the whistle on Joe Biden being a dementia patient. I'll never forget that. Mike Johnson did an interview. He was saying he kept trying to get a meeting with Joe Biden to talk to him. I mean, this is the Speaker of the House. And they kept blocking him. And then finally he was able to get a meeting, and all of these aides were in the Oval Office with him. And he said that they were all on pins and needles. So when finally he went to ask Joe Biden a question, Joe Biden was like, hold on. And he asked for the room. So all the aides begrudgingly left the room. Mike Johnson was asking him, like, you signed this, and this, and that into, executive order and everything with the auto pen. And Joe Biden was like, I did? Like, I don't remember doing that. I thought that was for this, that, and that. Like, no. Like, dude, you did this, that, and the other, X, Y, and Z. So Biden was lied to. Mike Johnson blew the whistle on that. Him and Lindy Lee and a few other people. You got people writing books. Karine Jean-Pierre and Jake Tapper writing books. So what are you talking about?
It's not a good example. We have to turn the temperature down in this country and not escalate it. The Democrat Party is on the wrong side. They are defending lawbreakers, and now they are acting like lawbreakers themselves. And I think that's oversight. Charging a cabinet secretary in a press conference, I beg to differ. I think that people do as well.
Yes, the Democrats are maggots of America. Good call, Eduardo.
Scott, I have things to say about lowering the temperature all the time. I am very consistent in this. We have been trying to do this since I was handed the gavel in before. I founded the Honor and Civility Caucus in the Congress, for crying out loud, when I got here in 2017. I think that we should act according to our offices. We have a duty and a responsibility to set a tone, an example in our actions. And I encourage every member of this body to do it in the House and Senate. We have to turn the temperature down. We need to be on the side of the rule of law. We need to be on the side of law and order. We need to be on the side of calm and not chaos. And when members go into these settings and act this way, that when they push law enforcement agents around, when they storm cabinet secretaries in a press conference, I think it is wildly inappropriate behavior, and I think it sets a terrible message and tone for the rest of the country.
Will there be
Yes.
an investigation? Will there be a House investigation?
This is a Senate side issue, but I certainly hope that behavior is not repeated over here. We already.
Constitutional officer for this branch of the
I
government.
am,
This
yes.
affects all members, whether they be in the House or Senate. You're the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
You're the constitutional officer of this branch.
Yeah, and what of it? I mean,
The idea that this is a Senate issue. This isn't. I mean, these are members of Congress.
I mean, yeah, but the Senate does its disciplinary actions over there, and we do ours over here. We have a certain set of measures, as you all know, and it ranges from censure to removal from committees to ultimately expulsion from the body. And
you support that for the senator?
It's not my decision to make. I'm not in that chamber, but
Right,
I
that's
do
a
think
big
that it merits, immediate
That's a
attention
big
by
dude.
other colleagues over there, and that they need. I think that behavior at a minimum is. It rises to the level of a censure. I think there needs to be a message sent by the body as a whole that is not what we're going to do. That's not how we're going to act. We're not going to have branches fighting physically and having senators charging cabinet secretaries. We got to do better, and I hope that we will. But I want to say this is a good day for the House chamber. The first recipients package is now passed through the House. I expect it will pass through the Senate. I expect our one big beautiful bill will continue to be processed as it is, and that we'll get it back and get it done on a tight schedule. I'm still trying to meet our July 4th deadline so we can have a celebration on Independence Day. And having good legislation passed will put everybody in a better mood. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
All right, so concerning the big beautiful bill, let me touch on that real quick. So the Senate Republicans want to cut it into two parts. They want to, of course, keep the tax cuts for Americans, where if you make less than $200,000, you don't have to pay federal income tax, no tax on tips, no tax on overtimes, all of that stuff. They still want to keep that stuff to help out those who make, less than 200K. They still want to help that out. But there are some things in government that they want to make more cuts to. One of them being defense spending. But the thing that, if you've been paying attention, especially with this illegal immigration thing and the cartels, is that, hold on, wait a minute. I mean, there's a reason why Trump had to call in the Marines. Those people in California are carteled up. You have places, all these sanctuary cities, these mayors and governors that are fighting to keep these people in here. I mean, even the criminals, they're carteled up. It's clear as day. Somebody's funding these people. So what they want to do, they want to cut the defense spending, but Trump is like, no, we need the defense spending because there's this. Understand the intelligence agencies here in the United States. I mean, you have to understand this is the most prosperous and also supposedly should be the most secure country in the world. But the Democrats weakened our country's security state. Trump is trying to reinforce that. So much so that Canada wants in on the deal. But they like, well, like Trump said, either you pay these billions of dollars or you succeed into the United States. You become the United States official 51st state, even though we feel that Israel is the United States unofficial 51st state. But if you want to be the official 51st state, and that way you don't have to worry about paying for the Golden Dome and the national defense, come be annexed by the United States. But you have to give up all of this goofy stuff that a lot of the countries that are under the crown are doing, because you have globalist elites by the Soros and BlackRock that are weakening these nations. You have to give that stuff up. So Canada they got to do the whole math. They got to do the whole math. Either you pay these billions for national defense with the Golden Dome, or you go undefensed, or you succeed and become a part of the United States. They got to do the whole math. So it depends on where they sit. But let's get on with it. It's wild. It's just crazy.
I yield back.
Will the gentleman yield?
Gentleman yields back.
Right.
Chair
This is where they started going in on the governors. governors. So Luna, what's her name? Let's see here. Anna Paulina Luna. With her, she's a strong 7. She's a beautiful woman. She's a strong 7. She, of course, recommended sanctuary city mayors, Michelle Wu, Johnson out of Denver, Johnson out of Chicago. All right. And who's the guy? Eric Adams. But Eric Adams has got a pass. So those 3 mayors, she wanted them up for criminal prosecution. And again, everything is still waiting on Cash to get his team together, so that way they can do the criminal prosecutions. So now it's the governor's turn, because they want to recommend the governors for criminal prosecution for being seditionists against the United States. Let's go.
This is Miss Luna
Mr.
from
Chairman,
Florida.
point of inquiry, did you skip me in the order on purpose? Just curious.
Jazzy? Who is Jasmine? You talking about Jasmine Crockett? Jasmine Crockett's she's a prostitute. She's a Democratic prostitute pretending to be a ghetto. Matter of fact, in all honesty, I don't think Jasmine Crockett is pretending to be a ghetto black. I think she is a ghetto black. She's ghetto trash. And her day is coming. She's got less than 30 days to respond to the inquiry about Act Blue, because as you know, Act Blue is under federal investigation for stealing people's money through their credit card system. For those that don't know, Act Blue, if you donated to Act Blue, they don't need the 3-digit security numbers on the back of your debit or credit card, and therefore they can process your card whenever they want to. Plus, they've been linked to taking money from the CCP and other foreign entities, which is a crime. Because remember, Jasmine was saying, I raised the most money in my district ever. Yeah, through Act Blue. So, you know, she's got less than 30 days now. She had 60. She's under 30 days to respond to the inquiry.
It must have been an oversight, Mr. Moss.
Well, this is the
Chair
oversight
recognizes
committee,
Ms.
which
Luna.
has lots of oversight.
Gentlemen, please.
Chair
I'd like to ask
recognizes
my
Miss Luna.
Just, suppressing free speech.
It's Miss Luna.
All right, this guy that's crying like a little bitch, he's a Democrat. So, he's going to pop his head up a few more times, but let's go.
Thank you very
You're
much, Chairman. First and foremost, I would like to take this opportunity to educate the American people on what's really happening right now with these riots. So I see right now there's a lot of back and forth and finger pointing, but the fact is that there is a financial tie to these riots, tied to immigration, that actually leads right back to the Communist Chinese Party. Straight up, the LA riots have been organized by an organization dubbed PSL, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, funded by billionaire Chinese activist Neville Singham, who spends parts of his year by living in Shanghai. In addition to that, although he is not a registered foreign agent, he accepts a lot of money from the CCP and then turns around and funnels it right into some of these violent protests that we're seeing. But it doesn't just stop there. This is not the only organized protest that's using brown people and immigrants as a ruse to push their communist and Marxist agenda.
Did I not say that?
Mr. Waltz, thank you for coming in today to testify, or Mr. Walls. Real quick, is it true, yes or no, that you are speaking at the June 14th Twin Cities No King rally?
I can't confirm that right now. That
Okay.
could be true.
Okay. Just so you know, they're advertising you speaking there.
Okay.
The graphic's actually on X right now. I'd be happy to provide it for you. So I'll take that as probably speaking. Is it true also, I know on your campaign that you had admitted to visiting China anywhere from 15 to 30 times, sir? Yes or no, please?
I did live in China and
No, visiting, sir, in addition to living there and in addition to having, okay.
that's correct.
All right. Also, too, I'd like to note that during
By the way, you know that's her. She's grilling Tim Walz, Mr. Terrorist supporter himself.
your time in Congress that you filed for a $5 million earmark that actually was secured. $2 million of it went to the Harmel Institute that actually collaborated with the Wuhan Institute. Also, the Department of Homeland Security, sir, just to you, so that you're tracking, actually had an internal memo that was released that stated that the government of China considered you a prime target for influence operations. I'm letting you know that now because I do believe that you should be made aware of, if you are not already, that you are working with and going to be speaking at an organization and rally that not is just funded by Christy Walton, the heiress of Walmart, but also has ties to the Chinese Progressive Association, largely funding it, that actually brags on their website that they are pro-Maoist. Also, too, funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. I know there's a lot of people on this committee that don't like billionaires interfering in politics, but say nothing when George Soros gets over $260 million from USAID through the last administration that's then funneled into some of these nonprofits and organizations. So I guess my question for you guys is, now that I've made you aware that these riots are not about illegals and they're not about immigrants, if they did, they would have been protesting under Barack Obama, who's also dubbed the deporter-in-chief. And frankly, I think many of you would say that Barack Obama was a good president. Are you going to say that Barack Obama wasn't a good president? Yes or no, Governor Waltz? Do you think he was a good president?
Do I think Barack Obama was
Correct.
a good president? I think he did a good job.
Okay, how about you, Governor Pritzker?
I think he did a good job.
Hochul?
Hochul, and yes, he did do a good job.
Okay, next, Perryman.
I think President Obama did a good job.
So then you would understand that Barack Obama had the very same policies for the most part on immigration that Republicans are parroting today. And yet you guys are sitting here saying that we're Gestapo. And what I would tell you is that what happens with open borders is that the real people that are coming here, the ones that are exploited, actually it hurts people on both sides, not just Americans, but the illegals. Some of you had said here to the actual committee that you are doing what you can to assist these people. But what I would say is that your policies aren't actually done from a place of understanding and sympathy. I would say that it's actually doing the exact opposite. And when you use brown people, just like they use black people with BLM and Marxists during BLM to usher that in, when you use brown people and you put Mexican flags with them saying that you stand up for illegal immigrants, but you follow the money and it's going back to the Communist Party, what you're essentially doing is using your platform as elected officials, the trust that the American people have put in you, essentially to usher in communism. You're not actually fighting for American values. Don't roll your eyes, because it's a serious topic and that's where the money's coming from. So now I'm informing you, so now you guys can make your decisions, but please be informed, sir, Mr. Walls, that if you truly do uphold the American ideologies and perspectives on the Constitution, you should not be speaking at that rally. I've given you the correct information. And as of right now, I've authorized a letter to be sent to my office to the President of the United States to rescind millions of dollars in funding that we know are going to the No Kings protests that were authorized and basically given under the last administration. That is what Congress is supposed to do, not point fingers, not blame people, but actually ensure that the American people are protected and not fighting for foreign interests, foreign governments, and also the communist.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question?
No.
You don't want to tell us what your evidence is of all these connections?
Actually, no, I will yield.
You know,
that.
I appreciate
So-
it. Goldman, you'll get
I will-
take your
let
word
me answer
for
the
it.
question.
But
Let me
you'll
answer the question.
appreciate we might want actual evidence.
I would be happy to provide that. And I'd also be happy to inform Chairman that actually we have a letter of which you can sign on to. I know you like to sign on to letters with us, especially on the Epstein stuff. But we actually have a letter going out to Neville Singham on Friday, and it's actually signed by every single member of Oversight. I'd like to extend that to you because that letter is calling him to testify, and it's also calling for his financial transactions. And do you agree, sir, that we should not be accepting money from the Communist Chinese Party? I think anyone on this platform would agree that that should not be accepted, correct?
I would like for you to actually present evidence rather than just quote inform the witnesses. And now that they're informed,
look, I don't disrespect you. I'm going to answer your question. We are having a hearing on it where we can present all the evidence.
Order.
No, but let's have this.
Yeah, go ahead. You're recognized, Ms. Lita.
Fucking Democrat.
We are going to be having a hearing, and you can gavel on to the hearing. I'd appreciate you to do it because the fact is that the Democrat Party. Remember,
is it going to be as good as the Biden impeachment hearing?
Mr. Goldman, you'll have 5 minutes in a moment.
Focus real quick.
Well, Mr. Chairman, she's out of time. I just think you're trying not to let me talk.
Guys, if you guys want to talk about it, I'll answer the question. But Mr. Singham is also funding Code Pink through his wife.
You know, it's my turn.
Can we ask Elon to divest from China while we're at
The
it?
lady's time's expired. The lady's time's
We'll
expired.
be having the hearing. Y'all are invited. We might have you guys back.
Now keep in mind, Luna is the one. She's the one that's trying to get. Who's the guy that was Trey Songs or Trey Land, whatever, the guy that was accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, even though she wasn't shot in the foot. She's the one that turned over the evidence proving that Tory Lanez was innocent. This is her. She's the same one that had the evidence proving that Tory Lanez was railroaded and that he was innocent, and then all of a sudden the next day he got stabbed up. That's the same woman. Now, American Patriot, that's a funny name for somebody who says all these Nazi leaders should be deported. What the F? We America hates Nazis, but we allow Nazis run our country. What the F? I'm sorry, what do you call the Biden administration? I guess they're patriots. Are you still here? Are you still here? You have to explain to me what's the difference between the parties. But yeah, as you can see, they're running through the money. They're going to trace back the money. And I'm telling you right now, you're looking at the CCP, the cartels, and Hamas. Those are the three people where you're going to find where the money trail leads. Watch. Watch. Just watch. You'll see. Let's move on to the next video. We're still grilling Tim.
Chairman, welcome to the unofficial 2028 Democrat presidential primary right here on stage at the Oversight Committee. Governor Newsom must be seething. The three of you beat him to the stage, but he's a little busy right now defending illegals and defending Antifa, torching what is left of Los Angeles. Governor Walz knows the playbook. In 2020, he rolled
wait. Before I continue with this, let me tell you how serious this got. So I just got this from Ground News. Trump ordered to return control of California National Guard to governor. That incompetent Gavin Newsom, who was on the side of the illegals because he's cartel controlled. It says on Thursday, June 12th, that's today, Judge Charles Breyer ruled that President Trump must relinquish authority over the California National Guard, restoring command to Governor Gavin Newsom as demonstrations related to ICE raids continue in Los Angeles. The ruling followed immigration raids on June 6, which triggered widespread protests and President Trump's order to federalize the state's National Guard despite Newsom's opposition. Breyer determined that Trump's order to send about 4,000 National Guard troops were sent beyond his legal powers and infringed upon the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. But I'm sorry, but you had ICE agents under siege by the locals. The judge issued a temporary order preventing the defendants from sending California National Guard troops to LA and instructed the control of the guard be returned to Governor Newsom by noon on June 13th. The ruling implies limits on federal authority to deploy state National Guard troops during civil unrest, with implications for the balance of power between the federal government and states. That is wild. And you mean to tell me, but you know, you're trying to say that, what's up, Detroit? But you're trying to tell me that this, as American patriots said, oh, the Republicans are Nazis. Meanwhile, the Democrats are acting as straight up seditionists. This is what I ask. Like, where are you people coming from? You new folks, where are y'all coming from? Where are you coming from? Because you seem to be very Democratic run. And as far as I'm concerned, a lot of you are trolls. If I was to jibber jabber, take a look at some of these people's profiles and you tell me if these people have any content on their channels. Because I mean, I'm in the middle of broadcasting this. Take somebody, those of you, Detroit, matter of fact, hold on, Detroit 313, I need to make you a mod. I need to make you a mod. Hold on. Because I'm starting to think that I am inundated with Democratic troll accounts that came in here, made a quick hit, and then bounce, because everything that they're saying does not sound like people who want America to succeed. Because I mean, do understand, we live here. If this falls, we are cooked. And I get it that Black people, we're used to, well, some of you, a lot of you are used to living in poverty, but third world poverty is not something that you have been accustomed to or conditioned to live under. So therefore, you're talking a lot of shit until the shit hits the fan, because none of you would want to live in Mexico right now. None of you would want to live in any South American country where there's a lot of crime, because some of the videos, some of the channels or pages that I go to where I look at crime videos, no, you're not ready for that. You're not ready to live like that. You have no idea just how horrible a third world country is, where the electricity is only working maybe for 6 to 8 hours throughout the day, where you go days without it. There is no toilet paper. There is no irrigation system where you can take a dump in the toilet and flush it and everything's good. There's shortages on soap. There is no clothing stores. What are you talking about? The food is made with insects in it. The water is comes straight from the river, and it's not properly irrigated, and you're drinking that shit. Remember the old thing in Mexico, don't drink the water. Yeah, you're not ready for that here in this country. You're not ready for that. But you talk like you are. So either you are a bot or you're a dumb motherfucker. Flip the coin. Flip the coin. But let's go. I mean, people don't try to break into Brazil or Russia or China or the Philippines or Japan or any country in South America. They don't try to break into Canada. They try to break into here where you live. As one African dude was telling this white bitch who was sitting up here, Trump is this, that, and the other. And he told her, if America goes belly up, I can go back home to Nigeria. Where you going? I'm used to the conditions in Nigeria, but you're not. Where are you going? If suddenly now you can't get up and brew you some coffee or run to Starbucks and get you a frappuccino latte, pumpkin spice with extra sprinkles on the top, where you can't just grab your phone and do all of these little apps and post your little garbage. There's no food available. There are roving gangs of marauders willing to take your life, to take what little you have. You know, like the people that Trump is trying to deport out of this country. You can walk down the street in America and not have to worry about getting kidnapped in a van and forced to be a sex slave, with nobody even bothering to try to help you. The government officials turned a blind eye. No. You're not ready for that type of lifestyle. So why the fuck are you anti-American? Please explain it to me. I mean, as Black folks, our biggest complaint is so-called racism, which is pretty much, I mean, you don't even see it nowadays, unless it's coming from Black women. You don't see it nowadays. You see some Jesse Smollett shit. Ain't no Black men getting gunned down by cops like they were during the Obama administration at least 3 times a week, with Obama singing a Negro spiritual and having a beer with cops and turning a blind eye. You don't see that shit anymore. They drum those dudes right up out of the business, right up out of the police industry. And it's awfully strange that they're awfully quiet, but you want America to fall. So therefore, those people who are ex-police officers who hate your guts to roam through a lawless society, because do understand, with the Democrats trying to force communism, in order for communism to happen, America, the capitalist society that it is, has to fall. It's not going to be a smooth transition. That's why millions die under communism. Why do you think Russia stopped being a communist country? China is a communist country. When we impose tariffs on them, their goddamn factories, hundreds of factories, if not 1,000, shut down. Factory owners who, by the way, have to share a 50-50 split with the government, these factory owners absconded into the night. What do you think happens to you if America falls? You think you still gonna go to work at your little office job or your warehouse job? You think you still gonna be able to go to Kroger or Walmart to buy your little fucking goods and shit? You say Jerry and Patriot are trolls, no content. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah, I know. Everybody keeps saying Israel just attacked Iran. I'll deal with that tomorrow. You say Stalin, 40 million, Mao, 60 million deleted after World War II. Yeah, communist countries. Remember, Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And then when they switched over, when they abandoned communism, you had some of the Russian communist leaders that were trying to still hold on, and they fired them cannons into those buildings, into those parliament buildings to get them up out of there. The only thing I support as far as what China did when it comes to communism is when they handled their opium epidemic. We should have done that with our crack epidemic. Y'all remember that? Or maybe you need a history lesson about Tiananmen Square. Why you sitting up here calling yourself protesting in America? Yeah, go protest in a foreign country and see just how fucking far you get with that shit. See how they deal with illegal immigration in other countries. Do understand America is, as much as you want to call this a Nazi regime, you're getting a wrist slap right now when they should be blowing your goddamn brains out for sedition. And now you've got a judge that's saying, yes, we need turn it over to an incompetent governor and Gavin Newsom who thinks that this is okay. You're trying to force, do understand the Democratic Party through their activist judges, their activist stooges are trying to force a second a second civil war. They're trying to force a second civil war. If you can't have it, tear it down. Watch California fall. Watch. Now that this judge has done that, watch California fall. And we'll see how much you little pieces of shit will be loving that. Let's get back to this.
About the red carpet for anarchists while Minnesotans watch their neighborhoods burn. You've turned your states into sanctuaries for illegals. You've done more to shield MS-13 than to protect the single mom working 2 jobs in Chicago, Queens, or Minneapolis. And you've worked harder against ICE than with them. So Governor Walz, and boy, does that feel nice to say the word governor. My first question is for you. Did you know the Nazis killed 6 million Jews during the Holocaust? It's a yes or no question. Did you know the Nazis killed 6 million Jews during the Holocaust?
Pushing my button to
Okay.
answer. Yes, I believe that's historic.
Okay, would you agree the Holocaust is the most horrific atrocity in human history? Yes or no?
I think the Holocaust ranks amongst them, yes.
Did you know the Nazi Gestapo imprisoned, tortured, and murdered Jews by the hundreds of thousands and committed genocide against the Jews? Did you know that?
I do know they operated as secret.
Did you know ICE has done none of that? Yes or no?
Operated as a secret police force?
No, that's not the question.
Motherfucker, they're ICE. Yes, they operate as a secret police force. Therefore, no, they're not going to announce on the 6 o'clock news or on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, hey, we're coming to grab Jose Canseco on 55th and Kinsman at 12 noon. No, they're not going to tell you that. These are dangerous criminals. These are rapists, murderers, drug dealers, felons. Yeah, so yes, they operate in secret, they surprise and they jump out on you. They're not doing that to Rodriguez, the fry cook at American Deli. When he get off work, he go into his car and all of a sudden a white man snatches him up with people wearing masks and hoods and hanging him from a tree. The fuck out of here. I'm glad that they called him on this shit. Let's go.
Did you know that ICE has not committed genocide against anyone?
Yes, I do know that.
Okay. Do you apologize for your disgusting comparison of ICE to the Gestapo, who killed hundreds of thousands of Jews during the Holocaust?
As a history teacher,
yes or no is the question.
a historical
You're a
comparison.
governor. You understand what the question is. It's yes or no. Will you apologize for what you said about ICE, comparing them to
I would ask ICE to
Gestapo?
identify who they are when they operate, to not use unmarked.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
not
this
use
governor,
unmarked vans.
or honorable, can't answer the question. Do you believe the Nuremberg trials were a good exercise in holding the Nazis accountable? Yes or no?
I think due process.
Okay, so are you calling for ICE agents to be brought to a tribunal under the threat of death by comparing them to the Gestapo?
Everyone is afforded due process.
Okay, you know what? This is what I hate. This is what I hate about these congressional hearings is that they give, like, Nancy Mace and other congressmen and senators, they give them a 5-minute question window. And what I hate is that they have all of the answers that are given by the person that they're questioning, they don't stop the clock. If a congressional or a congressional member is asked a question, after they ask the question, the clock should be stopped. Give that person enough time to answer, so that way they don't have to overtalk the person that they're questioning, the witness. They don't have to overtalk them because their time is limited. You should stop the clock right there, give them a time to answer, and let them put their foot in their mouth. And then when the congressional or senator person, whoever, comes back into questioning, then their 5-minute clock starts again. So you'll get a lot of this over talking and not letting these people answer, but I would love to hear them put their foot in their mouth.
What don't you understand about yes or no? Like, what can't you comprehend about yes or no questions? Do you still want to abolish ICE? Do you still want to abolish ICE? Yes or no?
That I wanted to abolish ICE.
Didn't you march in a rally calling for ICE's abolishment?
Not that I can recall, Congressman.
Well, according to widespread media reports, you did.
And the media is always correct.
How do you rate Kamala Harris's job as border czar? I want a number between 1 and 10. How was she as border czar?
I wouldn't have a way to measure that. I was not in the administration.
Weren't you her running mate for vice president?
As in the campaign.
And you can't rate her role as border czar on a scale of 1 to 10. Was she great at 10 or was she a 1? Terrible.
I think her proposal that she put forward to make sure we had the bipartisan immigration.
It wasn't bipartisan. Did you ever personally speak with Kamala about Joe Biden's cognitive collapse?
Not that I can recall, Congressman.
Not as her running mate for vice president. You never once talked to her about the president and why she was nominated instead of him.
No, not that I can recall.
What kind of operation were you guys running over there?
A clown. I was more concerned with Donald Trump's cognitive.
Thank God he's president and J.D. Vance is vice president and not you. Have you ever served in a combat zone, Governor?
I have not, Congresswoman.
Okay. Are you still friends with school shooters?
I have never been a friend with a school shooter.
Didn't you say you were friends with school shooters on the debate stage?
Oh, Congresswoman.
Yeah. Is bullying, my mom was a teacher. I'm a high school dropout. We can talk about that later. Is bullying okay?
Is bullying okay?
Mm-hmm.
As teacher?
Is bullying okay? Yes or no? Is it okay to bully somebody?
I think
yes
there's
or
a
no?
time to push back at a bully. So yes, I do think there's a time.
So you think it's okay to bully others?
I think it's okay to bully the bully at times.
Well, you're showing that the Democrat Party is a party of violence. Were you at Tiananmen Square?
Have I been to Tiananmen Square? I have.
Were you at Tiananmen Square?
I have been at Tiananmen Square.
When were you there?
Oh, as I recall, January of 1990.
Okay.
After everything.
What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
He's questioning his credibility.
I'm not sure I understand the question here.
Well, that
He's been questioning his credibility.
What do you want me to say? This is.
I want you to say that a woman like me is an adult human female, that men can't become women. You guys are the party of violence, and you're the party erasing women. You don't respect us. You're a bigot. You're a misogynist. You're a sexist. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Congresswoman.
Good lady.
Thank-
Mr. Chairman, I would ask unanimous consent.
Ocasio-Cortez
Who's
from
next?
Colorado.
Lauren
Thank you,
Boebert.
Mr. Chairman. The Los Angeles riots
All right,
are certainly a shameful explosion of lawlessness that we are once again seeing.
So this is Lauren Boebert and Fred Flintstone, aka JB Pritzker, going at it. I haven't seen these, so this is beautiful. Let's go.
The narrative has changed in these riots, but it's certainly the same type of actors. We're seeing businesses torched, cars torched, families uprooted, certainly communities that are scared. And this is by no means a peaceful protest. It is absolute chaos, and rioters don't get a free pass to burn down cities just simply because they're mad, because they are mad that our nation's laws are being upheld, that our federal agents are upholding their oath and doing what they were hired to do. Our first responders deserve respect. They do not deserve to have rocks thrown at them and to be injured. But I mean, let's be honest, this violence didn't really spark in a vacuum. Sanctuary policies are a magnet for trouble. They shield criminals, undermine the rule of law. And governors, I've sat here and I've heard you today. You say that safety is your number one priority. You want your communities safe. You want your people safe. And Governor Hochul, you just asked, how can we work together to ensure that that happens? Well, that's exactly what we want to do in this hearing. We want to work together. We want to talk to you about your sanctuary policies that are actually preventing us from working with you to keep your community safe, because we want them safe as well. I have the same policies in Colorado that restrict our local law enforcement officers from coordinating with federal agents. And some of my counties have issued lawsuits to try to end that. But this is serious, and we owe it to every American to restore safety and enforce our laws. It's been stated that this is a federal law and it's not your job to uphold the federal law. Well, we're not asking you to uphold it. We're just asking you to kind of step out of the way and allow the federal government to do the job to uphold these laws. When you have someone, don't wait until they commit a violent, heinous crime before we know their immigration status. So now we're seeing these riots everywhere. We've heard in 2020 that everything was mostly peaceful, as cities burned down, as people lost their lives, as law enforcement officers lost their lives. So I just want to ask you three governors, yes or no, is the destruction of private and governmental property, is that something that fits under your definition of a peaceful protest? Governor Walz? Yes or no?
No, it does not.
Thank you. Governor Pritzker?
Fred Flintstone?
I find it hard to believe that you're lecturing us about peaceful protest. Look at what happened January 6th here at the Capitol.
No, what we're seeing.
Oh my God. Nobody gives a fuck about what happened on January 6th. You're trying to compare January 6th, where the FBI helped fuel that chaos. You can call it an insurrection all you want to. I'm black. I don't give a fuck about no goddamn January 6th. But we got proof, video proof of FBI agents helping to lead the charge into the Capitol building to the point where the people opened the doors so the people could come into the Capitol building. There's literal proof that Trump asked for the National Guard to be at the Capitol building for January 6th, and Nancy Pelosi said no. So stop bringing that shit up. Nobody gives a fuck. all them BLM riots and shit that went on, and understand, I've never been a fan of BLM. Tariq Nasheed, when that shit first started with the whole Michael Brown situation in Ferguson, he met with those people. He said, these people are pieces of shit. And it turned out to be true. I wasn't with them. I didn't stand with them back then. I definitely don't stand with them now. All they did was steal money and destroy communities and gave the middle finger to black people. White people and them black lesbian bitches stole billions of dollars. They were paid protesters funded by Soros. Trump pardoned people who shouldn't have been in jail. The people that assaulted officers and whatnot and did heinous stuff during the January 6th riots, those people are still in jail. But they locked up people on trumped up charges who were there demonstrating with signs, yelling, screaming, but they didn't destroy any property. They didn't go into the Capitol building. They didn't assault anyone. Like I said, technology, they find out who you are. Those people got sent to federal prison just for being there. Those are the people that he pardoned. People who were given salacious sentences just for being there, but did absolutely nothing to the BLM people, the BLM riots. They call it, like they're calling the shit going on now, peaceful protest. And everything that's going on now that this guy, this judge, has turned the National Guard over to Gavin fucking Newsom, that piece of shit, that incompetent piece of shit. And if I was Trump, I'd say, yo, if you're a citizen of California, get out. Get out. Get out now. Because those people, those terrorists, because let's be honest, those people are terrorists. If you're an illegal and you're throwing rocks and shit and destroying government property, the city property is government property. You're destroying property. You're being funded by an NGO and whatnot. I'm sorry, you are a foreign terrorist organization, and you got some fucking piece of shit judge saying that we're going to turn over control of military operations to Gavin Newsom, who is clearly under cartel control. We're going to strip you of this power and turn it over to Gavin Newsom. That piece of shit. You have to throw Gavin Newsom in jail for sedition. Him and Karen Bass, who was raised to be a communist. You got to throw these people in jail. And the only way you're going to do that, you have to follow the money trail. And the biggest thing that you can get Gavin Newsom on is that whole railway thing where they were supposed to build the railway train from LA to San Francisco. What happened to the billions of dollars, Gavin? You can get him on that because they used federal funds. They stole federal funds. Where the fuck did that money go? You got to throw him in jail. You got to throw him in jail. You got to throw him in jail. That's the only way and some of these judges, you got to throw them in jail too. You got to follow the money. Come on, Cass. Get your goddamn team together. Ooh. These people are trying to kill us, and y'all don't get it.
Being in LA is an insurrection. You want to talk about an insurrection? This is an absolute insurrection.
You don't understand what insurrection is.
I asked you a yes or no question. I started this off.
You were here. They were attacking you, by the way.
The same. I would expect the same.
I'm answering your question. It is outrageous. You are asking.
Is it peaceful to
just? You're the one condoning
to destroy
of people who attack
private and government property
right here at our Capitol.
Governor Hochul. It's been a long day. Does that fit under your definition of a peaceful protest? The destruction of private and government property?
No, and we feel for the business owners and the community for what's going on there.
So do we.
This is a narrow scope of people, and the vast majority are peaceful.
Would lighting cars on fire fit under the definition of a peaceful protest?
No, we reject that. No one should be lighting police cars on
yes or
I
fire.
am
no?
opposed to violence in any form. Yes.
Governor Walz?
Yeah, we reject that.
Okay. Throwing bricks or large rocks at police officers? Is that peaceful?
It is not.
Is that peaceful, Governor?
Whether it's in Los Angeles or here in Washington at the Capitol, no.
Yeah, that didn't happen here. Governor Hochul?
It didn't happen here.
It actually did.
Nobody
but
threw
no,
a
it's not
rock at any
acceptable.
cop here.
Governor Pritzker, you have you or have you not called for mass protests and mobilization and disruption?
Yes, he did.
Indeed, microphones, megaphones, and going to the ballot box.
Well, they're responding in a much different way,
You're
are they not?
goddamn sedition.
President Trump also
Peaceful
asked for people
protest
to
is the history
You're a
of this
peacefully
country.
make their
goddamn
voices
seditionist.
heard. So it's okay for you to say that and hold that standard, but President Trump has a different standard when he actually makes the claims.
Inciting riots at
and
the
you
Capitol?
said
Yes,
you want
there
mass
is a difference
protests,
between
mobilizations, and disruption.
How was there a difference between what Trump called for and what you were calling for? What's the difference? Trump called for a peaceful protest. You call yourself calling for a peaceful protest. What's the difference? Suddenly now it's a difference because Trump said it. But it's different when you say it though. Get the fuck out of here, you fat fuck.
As a response to President Trump's policies. I just think that this is all hypocritical. You've called in your National Guard. You don't want President Trump to come in and enforce the rule of law to keep communities safe, and your destructive policies are harming American citizens. We should not have to wait until violence is committed to find out their legal status. We have 2 million unknown gotaways because of Joe Biden's administration, and we have got to find them and get them out of America. And I thank President Trump and his administration for doing just that. I yield.
Gentlelady yield. Chair recognizes Mr. Craig from Minnesota.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for allowing me to wave on to this committee today. I think if I were permanent.
One from the National Immigration Center.
Without objection to order.
National Immigrant
Justice
Center and the Alliance for Immigrants.
Without objection to order.
They speak for themselves.
Chair recognizes Mr. Stauber from Minnesota.
Thank you very much, Governor Rawls.
Look, he got today.
I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I ask you to keep the remarks brief. I got a lot to go through. As you know, I spent 23 years as a law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota. You know that, right? Do you know that? Yes or no?
I don't know how much.
It's not a trick question.
I don't know.
I'll answer it for you. 23 years in Duluth.
Thank you for that.
So, Governor, do you recognize this picture?
I do recognize the picture.
Briefly describe it to us. What is it? What's going on?
These were folks, I believe the people in the picture now are incarcerated in Minnesota.
It's a precinct 3 burning down because of your decision. Was this a peaceful protest? Was this a peaceful protest?
The gentleman standing there?
Was this a peaceful protest?
It was a criminal act that people were prosecuted for.
So it wasn't a peaceful protest, right? As I watched lawlessness devastate Los Angeles this past week, I was reminded of your failure to protect Minnesota from similar riots. Governor Walz on May 29th of 2020, during your own press conference, you described your response to the riots during the 2020 Summer of Love as, quote, an abject failure. Governor, I couldn't agree with you more.
That's out of context.
And on May 17th, 2025, you were at the law school, graduating Minnesota Law School, talking to the graduates. And we've talked about this. You called the enforcement of illegal immigrants a modern-day Gestapo. You've been asked 3-4 times if you would rescind that, and you won't. Will you rescind it? This is like the 5th time, yes or no?
Congressman, I was talking to law students about due process, and I said you took an oath to due process.
Governor, was there a violent Al-Shabaab terrorist who entered our country illegally, arrested in Minneapolis last year? Yes, there was. Were there 3 illegal child predators arrested by ICE in St. Paul earlier this year?
I certainly hope so. That's their job.
Yes, there was. Are the officers who arrested the Al-Shabaab terrorists or the child predators, are they Nazis or the Gestapo?
The tactics of wearing
They're
masks,
not.
The tactics of wearing masks.
Unidentified.
Why
did you?
I'll say this for those of you who don't understand. This whole, they wear masks. They are dealing with people who are terrorists, like actual terrorists from the Middle East and cartel members who will, I mean, I can go right now here just on Google and use facial recognition and find all of your social media pages and everything. I can dox you easily. That's how easy it is to dox somebody. That's why it's illegal. Just by your face. I can find out everything about you just by your face. Yeah, I killed my digital footprint. Outside of this is the only thing you'll find on me. At least if you dig. But this is why ICE agents wear masks, because their families get threatened. And again, this is why I say these people like Tim Walz and Pritzker and whatnot, you're under cartel or foreign entity control. Hakeem Jeffries, you're under foreign entity control, because why do you want to unmask and dox ICE agents who have to deal with terrorists and criminals who are affiliated with terrorist organizations? Why would you want them to walk around with their faces exposed so their families and them can be in danger? Do you not understand just how serious this shit is? Life, this shit, I mean, I know you watch the TV shows. The TV shows, art imitates life and life imitates art. So they have to wear these fucking masks and make sure they cover up any tattoos and any other distinguishing features. These guys have no social media presence for a reason. So what the fuck are you talking about, Tim Walz and Hakeem Jeffries and anybody else that wants to dox an ICE agent, people who are trying to keep the country safe from scumbags?
Why did you tell us that they were the Gestapo? Do you believe that any of the violent illegal immigrants I have mentioned have a right to be in this country?
I don't know what their immigration status was.
They're illegal, violent criminals that the ICE took off the streets of Minneapolis.
You did not say,
Last
Congressman, what their status
Governor,
was.
last week,
You should know this.
in the state
You're
of
the
Minnesota
governor.
took 900 pounds of meth off the streets. Do you support that?
We certainly do.
Do you know that ICE? Do you know that ICE assisted in that arrest, those arrests and investigations? Do you support the assistance of ICE in that enforcement action? Yes or no?
I can't speak to that because we were not included in the briefing.
You don't know if ICE was part of it?
Because
I'm telling you they were.
You're under control.
I don't have that data. I would have to trust you.
Will you apologize to our constituents and law enforcement officers for making them and their families less safe with your incendiary actions?
I'll congratulate them that they helped us work on the largest pension bill for Minnesota law enforcement in 30 years.
Claiming my time. Governor, what weapons did you carry in war?
Congressman, for 24 years, I carried.
No. What weapons did you carry in
war? What did you carry?
What did? I tell you what, Governor, you're barking down the wrong tree, okay? You lied to the Minnesotans. You said that you carried weapons in war. That is stolen valor. My wife served 24 years in the military.
A little bit of respect for the
and she's an Iraq war veteran.
You know what I mean?
She was over in the war zone. That's
on a point
stolen valor, and I'm so disgusted with you. And so are the people that you served with.
Point of order.
That's
Halt
stolen valor.
just a minute.
Stolen valor. You didn't carry weapons in war.
Congressman, my 24 years was public many years.
For lying?
Objection.
Will you apologize for lying?
Objection.
Hold on, Paul.
I'll tell you right now, I go to the VA a lot with my father. And they say, because he wears his little Vietnam hat, and they thank him for his service, and then they thank me for service. And I tell them flat out at the VA, I'm like, yo, I never served. Like, I never served. I just take care of my dad. And they go, oh, okay. Because I'm not going to perpetrate like I'm a military member. I would never do that. I have the utmost respect for people who are on that, quote unquote, on that wall. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. I'd rather you just say thank you and go about your day. I understand that speech. I understand that speech by Jack Nicholson. I get it with the whole Code Red thing. Unfortunately, it turned out bad in that movie, but I understand it. No bitches are allowed in these barracks. I get it. Military men and women that actually carry a weapon and go into combat, or the typists, I'm not going to discredit them, but do understand they keep this country safe. They are the very reason why we are not a third world country, and the very reason why we are the greatest military on this planet. So when I get troll accounts sitting up here trying to back the Democratic Party, who was clearly trying to destroy everything that keeps us with the lights on and able to drink from this cup and sodas, and me to have this YouTube channel and you know, live comfortably as I do, I thank them for their service. I 100% stand by them. I 100% back law and order. My biggest gripe throughout my whole internet and life concept was racism. It's a stupid concept coming from government agencies, but that is now over. This is what I've been trying to tell goofy black people for the past year. You gotta stop screaming racism when there is no racism. Racism has been eradicated. This Republican regime does not stand for racism. It is all about national security and getting poverty, trying to erase poverty and making this place secure. But the Democrats don't want that, because Democratic leaders, because they want to revert this to communism through outside forces outside the United States. There's no fucking way you can call yourself being a mayor or a governor or a congressman in this country and you protect illegal criminals that, again, like to rape and murder little girls for sport, sell fentanyl, which a drop can kill a person. I've seen it. When I was in Ohio, there's a reason why I wanted to get the fuck out of there. When fentanyl started hitting the streets, you have no idea how many people I've seen that I didn't even know, but just in the apartment complex where we got our house. And this was the main reason why I moved, because all of a sudden ambulances started popping up all over the apartment complex because people were dying from fentanyl. And we're talking about people who just bought weed, a joint. All of a sudden the ambulance is there. They smoking with their buddies or their roommate. Oh, what the? We all coming out because, you know, ambulance lights. You see that shit. What the hell? Oh, you come outside, it's a crowd of people. What happened? We're all neighbors. What happened? We don't know each other, but we're familiar with each other's faces. Oh, you live over there at 2386. You live at 4289. Whatever. Oh, shit, what happened? Dude, you his roommate? What happened? Oh, man, we bought some weed from this dude. He must have laced it with something, because we was like, dude, he smoked it. And all of a sudden, he convulsed and blood. He was dead. We had to call the ambulance. Come to find out, he died from a fentanyl overdose. They laced the weed with fentanyl. This was before it was a national problem. I got my people the fuck up out of there. This was back in 2015. And now you've got the Democratic Party trying to protect these motherfuckers? Have you lost your fucking mind? They so far, what's been publicly listed is that the cartel or the illegal Hispanics have killed so far 2 black women that they've reported on, even though they dumped these assholes in poor black neighborhoods. So much so that Chicago, with the black people, have turned red. They can't wait till the next election to get rid of Brandon Johnson. This cartel protecting piece of shit. They can't wait to get him up out of there. They wish Lori Lightfoot was back. That's how bad it is. And you've got mayors and governors protecting these people? Are you serious? You're seditionists. You should be lined up like they did for the people who had the opioid epidemic and dealt with accordingly. But this is the United States. We don't do that here. We throw you in jail. Instead of making a physical example of you, we make a legal example out of you. You ought to be fucking glad you live in the United States and they do that. Because you should be put down on your knees on national TV and eradicated as a lesson teacher. But you're trying to turn the United States into China, where they will line you up. What's up, Detro? People don't get it. You dumb motherfuckers don't get it. You are in the best country in the world. I know you don't like some things you don't like. This white person called me a nigga. Kick his ass. The fuck you want me to do? You really want me to get a protest sign? He called that guy. I don't know what nigger. Fuck, nigga, handle your business. What you want me to do? Them days is over. You need to get your money up, get your paper up, and worry about national security. Look, I don't care how well I know you. You're illegal. If you're a criminal, you gotta go. If you're hardworking, 9 to 5, you've been working this job every morning. I come in at 5 a.m. My homeboy Juan. Every time he making the coffee, 5 p.m. Sí, señor. ¿Cómo está? Muy bien, Okay, cool. You can stay. But we knew every time he got deported, the cartel got him back across the border. The longest he stayed, he got deported 3 times. In my 13 years at that one job, he got deported 3 times. And every time he got deported, I get deported. I be there less than 3 weeks. 3 weeks later, I walked through the door thinking I got to come in early, 4 o'clock in the morning to make the coffee, get shit going. I hit my time card, turn the corner. He right there in the coffee machine. Oh, wow. You back? What's up, my brother? What's up? Cartel snuck him back into the country. He didn't do that on his own. You really think he came across the desert in the Rio Grande and the tunnel and all that stuff by himself? No, he cartel affiliated. Them days are over with. Get it through your head, but the Democrats want to destroy it. Anyway, let's go.
That's not questioning a witness. That's not questioning a witness. You think
point of
so,
order.
huh?
State your point, Mr. Eckerberg.
No, you're
state your point.
There
you go.
You're hectoring. You're hectoring.
Right.
You're hectoring.
State your
Governor,
point.
you didn't carry weapons in war, did you?
State your point.
You didn't
Proceed.
carry
You
weapons
got
in war.
24 seconds.
Did you?
No, he didn't carry
Congressman, you know I
didn't
meant
carry
it.
weapons in war, yes or no? You lied. Governor, what rank did you retire at?
Congressman, I served my battalion as the command sergeant major.
That's not the question I asked. What rank did you retire at?
I retired as a master sergeant in EA.
Okay, here's your Here's your coin that says you're retired at a command sergeant major. That's
Says
your
I wore
challenge
that.
coin.
It says I wore the rank.
This is, yeah, that's right. You didn't retire, did you?
I did
Stolen
retire
valor.
after 24 years.
Here is a picture of your coin, your challenge
Jesus
coin.
Christ.
I'm disgusted with you. I'm just,
Mr.
Governor,
Chairman, the
you
time
lie
has
when the
expired.
truth-
Congressman,
you lie
I'm-
when the
Gentleman's
truth is
time's
better.
expired.
You called half Trump supporters Nazis and fascists, and you know what? That's why the Minnesota Police and Peace Association did not support you in the last election, because
I
you're missing
support
in
them.
action.
Yeah, you steal valor. Veterans have the right to kick your ass. And y'all have seen it. Y'all seen these videos out here. People they catch these little goofy little geeky dudes or whatnot running around here with military jackets, pretending that they're military members, trying to get discounts on fast food and all this stuff. And then they run across a real service member. Oh yeah, what battalion? What not? And these dudes give a garbage BS answer, and they get the shit kicked out of them by real service members, because they know. They know when you've stolen valor. They know when you're lying. And they beat the shit out of you. Tim Walz is
on behalf of the folks from the land.
Lady is
Mr.
back.
Chairman, I would
Recognizes
ask
Mr.
unanimous
Ocasio-Cortez.
All right, let's
from
deal
New York.
with cunt.
All right, well,
Yeah,
there's
I
some kind
thought
of
it
bingo
was.
going on
Yeah.
over there. I don't know what's going on. Anyways,
Oh, I know what's going on.
thank you to the witnesses for coming here today. I apologize for the treatment that the four of you have been subjected to. And Governor Walz, I just have to say, I know you're getting a lot of grief
It is
from the
a
majority.
category. What is
know.
the
It's a category of crime.
Just a reminder of how stupid this chick is.
Today, I apologize for the treatment that the four of you have been subjected to. And Governor Walz, I just have to say, I know you're getting a lot of grief from the majority here, but we are talking about individuals who have cheered on an individual who issued a Nazi salute from behind the presidential seal of the United States of America.
Are you mean
who
Cory
have
Booker?
cheered on the pardoning of individuals who attacked the United States Capitol and flew a Nazi flag and the flag of the Confederacy, traitors to the United States, sworn enemies of the United States of America, through the capital of this.
You're a Democrat. You're talking about the Democratic Dixiecrat, which is now Democrats. You're talking about that flag, that you are now a part of their political party, you fucking bitch. So I'm sorry, what were you saying now?
Nation. And now they want to act offended because someone has the courage to say, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, maybe it's a duck.
Right. And you're the Democratic Party. You all are acting like seditionists. You're all acting like seditionists outside of what? Who's the guy in Pittsburgh? The Pennsylvania, the guy that wears the hoodie. I forget his name. The bald white guy that wears the hoodie. He's the only Democrat I've seen. I think it was one other guy where he called out his party. But outside, I forget that guy's name. But the rest of them are acting like seditionists. Let's go.
So I want to thank you for not wavering to their bullying, which is unconscionable and sad to see. So I just wanted to let you know that, Governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
To the three of you, Governor Walz, Governor Pritzker, and Governor Hochul, you three have each sworn an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America,
Which they're
correct?
not doing currently.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have.
And I imagine that also includes the Fourth and Fifth Amendment protections for due process and the rule of law.
It does.
Sure does.
Yes.
And that means protecting your people in your states, U.S. citizens and every individual, because that is what makes America.
Stop. The Constitution protects American citizens. Illegals, if they are terrorists, their due process is an immediate deportation. You don't get to go before an immigration judge and continuances and all of this shit for 3, 4, 5 years before you get deported. You get deported immediately if you are a security threat. And if you are an illegal and you have committed a crime abroad or in the United States, you are a security threat. Your due process is an immediate flight the fuck out of here.
Great that we are a land of the free and of rule of law to protect them from infringements of their civil liberties, correct? Now, what we are seeing is a pattern where ICE is breaking the law. We have the detention of a U.S. citizen who has been detained by immigration officials. We have ICE here that has also blamed and arrested U.S. citizens for being simply suspected of being an immigrant, largely because of their appearance. In January, a Chicago-based U.S.-born citizen, Julio Noriega, was arrested by ICE and held in custody for over 10 hours. In April, a Florida...
Hold on. So now she's saying, okay, I want you to understand, because I already see where she's going. I want you to understand something. This fucking bitch, as well as a few other people in the Democratic Party, told these people, like Ilhan Omar, told these people, if you run across ICE, plead the fifth, don't say nothing, request a warrant, and this is how you immediately get detained by ICE until they figure out who you are. And once they figure out if you're an American citizen or not, or a naturalized citizen, whatever, then they'll let you go. Once they identify you, either they let you go or they put you on a flight. She said that. Her and Ilhan Omar said that. So this is what she's talking about. When you know if you are a non-citizen or a naturalized, if you are a naturalized citizen, you know you need to carry your goddamn ID. And when ICE run up on you because you got caught up with some criminal piece of shit, the first thing you need to do is pull out your ID. Here's my ID, officer. Yes, I'm Abrego Garcia. This is my ID. Even though, you know, he's going to prison for a good 10 to 20 years and then deported again. But this is my ID. This is who I am. Here's my ID. Scan it, whatever. Yes, I'm supposed to be here. I'm not sitting up here being a defiant piece of shit. I plead the fifth. And then get carted off to a detention center until they fingerprint me and prove who I am, and then I get let free, and now I'm in the cameras. No. You shouldn't have time for that. You shouldn't have time for that. Here's my ID. Yes, I'm on my way to work. Yeah, I work for Chick-fil-A. Yeah, run my ID. Get it done.
Florida Highway Patrol officer pulled over Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, a United States-born citizen, and arrested him on suspicion of being in the country illegally. He had his real ID, his social security card, his mother presented his birth certificate, and they still didn't let him go.
Then where is he now?
U.S. citizen Leonardo Garcia Venegas was filming an ICE raid. He was arrested by ICE. In May, a veteran and U.S. citizen who is Puerto Rican, was detained during an ICE raid at his workplace in New York City.
Where was his ID?
That's called a paper bag test.
Where was his ID?
And
where was his ID?
Your job,
He
Governor
said,
Hochul,
my bad, you still screaming.
is to protect people from that kind of infringement, correct?
Yes.
Because all of us must adhere to the law, and no one is above it. So if a U.S. citizen tries to break the law, or if an ICE officer tries to break the law, your job is to uphold the law, correct?
We absolutely uphold the laws of the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of New York.
And sanctuary states are about U.S. citizens as well having sanctuary against the attacks on our constitutional rights.
Every city in this country is a sanctuary state for a U.S. citizen concerning their constitutional rights, you moron.
From illegal search and seizure. There is nothing preventing ICE from issuing a warrant and you having complete compliance with their request. Correct, Governor Hochul?
We comply in cases where there's been criminal activity alleged. Yes, we always do. But we're not involved in civil immigration enforcement because our state police that I control have to deal with other crimes that they're solving.
And apologies, I just have 10 seconds left. But when they say illegal versus legal immigration, they are trying to end legal status in the United States as well. Correct, Governor Pritzker, with the end of TPS and making people undocumented by removing legal status, ending legal status, and then having the audacity to call them illegal when they were here documented, correct?
Taking students' visas away from people, taking their legal right to be in the United States away from them when they've been granted maybe years earlier to stay.
So I don't want to.
First and foremost, when you're giving a student visa, that doesn't make you a fucking citizen. You're here on a temporary status, but if you're on college campuses or whatnot, and you're posting terrorist propaganda such as Hamas propaganda, you will have written a ticket right up the hell up out of this country. Fred Flintstone and bartender.
I want to hear about how this is about illegal versus legal immigration. They are attacking legal status and removing legal status. The Republican majority is anti-legal immigration in the United States. I want to make that very.
No, it's not anti-legal immigration. It's
You're not recognizing the gentlelady from Hawaii.
Illegal activities, anti-terrorist activity. This is why I say the Democratic Party, they're trying to force a second civil war because they want to keep criminals and terrorist supporters and terrorists in this country. We're going to see what happens this Saturday with the June 14th situation, or tomorrow. We're going to see what happens with it. The No King's Day protest, we're going to see what happens with it. We're at the 3-hour mark, man. I'm tired. I'm tired of yelling at these freaking moronic people, and I gotta pee. We got so much to get into because Pete Hegseth, they're trying to figure out, and Lewis, you know, I talked to you about this. They're trying to figure out if Pete Hegseth is willing to commit treason against Trump with the military. That's why they got him testifying before the House Armed Services Committee. SCOTUS has already approved the removal of temporary status permit. Don't be a quitter, bro. I'm tired, man. I gotta pee and I'm tired. I got a long day tomorrow. It's been a tough week. But trust me, we'll deal with it tomorrow. I might because I have what's tomorrow? Friday? I don't want to make any promises because every time I make a promise, you know, something goes on crazy here dealing with my father and everything or whatnot, and I'm not able to broadcast. But I mean, if you've got the subscription thing on, you've got the bell on, just keep your eyes open. But I would try to do a Friday show. But this whole Pete Hegseth thing is really big. It's really big because it's like, why are you grilling Pete Hegseth again? The Signalgate thing is over. So why are you talking to him again? Because in all honesty, they want to know if he's willing to commit treason on their behalf against Donald Trump. Because that's how crazy it's getting. They want to know if he'll use the military. If Trump tells him, hey, you need to turn the military against seditionist American citizens and illegals, they want to know if he'll do that. And of course he will. He answers to the president, not to seditionists. Good Lord. It's wild out here, man.
Demon King Satan.
Antoine.
Demon King Satan. Satan.
Nope, not
Satan.
Satan.
Satan. Satan. Satan.
I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded. I rode the bus retarded. In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron. Yeah, to be Barack.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you.
1, 2, 3.
Right. Hi. Thanks for the fun.
Get the fuck